Hey, what's up, everyone? It's here, me, Randy Lou, aka Nanonoko. I've been upgraded. My commentator is not Rotterdam today. It is Lynne G here. Primarily plays in LA, moved to Las Vegas recently. Most recently, actually played high stakes poker. If you guys are into that, welcome to the show, Lynne. Excited here today for the Asia Poker League tournament.
I'm very excited. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we've got some final table betting still available, open for about another 10 minutes. So if you guys are in the chat, be sure to get in that as quick as possible. We're going to take a look at some of the names out there, look at the odds, and talk about what we think maybe got some value. And here are the people at the final table here today. I guess both of us don't really know any of these players, but I don't know if you're into final table betting or not, but you can see the chip leader's got 51 million chips. That's a ton of chips. In this short stack, 1.2 million. But the odds is what's important, right, for the final table. If you bet on the chip leader, you put $100 down, you get $230 back. You put the bottom guy, you get $6,900 back. I don't know. What are you feeling? You kind of like more of a chip leader safe kind of bet, or more like go for the gamble at the bottom, Lynne?
I'm definitely a go for the gamble. Just when I'm getting laid 70-1, how can I pass up on that? I'm a sucker for value. What can I say? What about you?
Well, I mean, I like to be I'm a safe bettor. You know, I like to play a lot of hands. I like to guarantee that money. But the difference between 9th and 8th place is so drastic, right? We got 70-1 odds for the bottom guy, and then we got 17.5 for the second near the bottom. That's crazy. This pretty much means the guy on the bottom, I don't even know how many big blinds he has, but he has such a little chance. But there are believers. We have 48 people betting on that, $212 worth of total bets out there, as you can see there. And we've got some GGPoker squad members who tell you who they're going to bet on. Maybe we can see some of those clips for us, production, and get some insight.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Jactus, and we will do some final table betting today. Go to the tournament lobby and search for the APL Trophy first event, the Trip of Day 2 event. Go to final table betting or just open the tournament lobby. And here you can choose the final table betting. I have fucking no clue who these guys are, but I'm just gonna bet on DM. He got the nicest odds, probably having the lowest stack, but whatever, who cares? I'm in for the gamble. And we're gonna place $5 bet and get a pretty decent payout if he wins. If he wins, we get like 365 bucks. Let's gamble.
Okay, we got here the APL Event 1 final table, and it's a betting spot. What jumps out at me is 2 helmets on. Can't back him. Even though this dude here, El Bianchini, he does have the most cashes of any player on the table, and this dude is paying 73-1 because of his tiny stack size. I'll go ahead with my Brazilian tournament winner. What the fuck is this?
Gambled yet today, and it's like I'm starving. Let's scratch the itch. Off day poker for me, but it is final table betting opportunity. APL series going on right now on GGPoker. Event number 1, the final table is set, playing for a lot of money. Let's gamble. What do we got? So we got the betting odds here. Okay, this guy's all the chips. You're only getting plus. This guy has almost no chips. You're getting plus 7,000. That's the sexy option. Tell you what, I don't know anybody about anything. I'm gonna trust my buddy. My friend Eugene here has never led me astray. Eugene, who should we bet on? Number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, El Bianchi, 11 million chips plus 1,000. Let's go, Eugene. 50 bucks. Boom. All right, so if this guy wins, I win 550. Final table betting, you of course can do this on GG on any of the big final tables. What a feature, what a time. It just, again, allows for maximum degeneracy, and I love it. So good luck, and Mr. Bianchi, I hope you win me some money.
Well, hey, you heard it from those 3 guys. Those guys are all GG guys, are, you know, sponsored, featured players there. So you saw Jet Kiss. He put his money on the very bottom guy. The guy was just 2 big blinds, but he could not pass the 70-1 odds like you, Lynne G. And you can see Cocky T, you know, he's an aggressive player. He's known for his cash game abilities, right? He goes straight to the Brazilian guy. You know, the Brazilian people, I've noticed they're always really crazy, and I think you want to bet on someone to win. On the final table betting, they need to win the tournament for you to win the bet. If you want to bet on someone crazy, you got better odds there, a better chance of winning, in my opinion. And then you can see Kevin Martin on the last one. He picked the Argentinian guy, the one guy that has a real name, I believe, at this final table. So usually real name people on GG Network, they are very strong players who are professional poker players. So maybe that's the right read from Kevin Martin. Who knows? But very interesting to see and hear the insights of those other 3 guys. But I don't know, 70-1. We've learned that it's 2 big blinds, Lynn. Would you still put money on that bottom guy?
So when I spun it up this year in the main event, I had a very similar story where I had like 5 big blinds, started drinking, and then like a couple hours later, I was close to chip lead. So yeah, absolutely. This is a tournament. Anything can happen.
Well, the difference between your main event and this tournament is that he has 2 big blinds. You had 5 big blinds. You had 250% his stack. That's very, very different, right? But you know, you got to believe there's always a chip in a chair. I guess that's a real story. This guy's either going to be out in 2 seconds or he's going to ship it to the end. I don't know. I personally would love to see him just make a run for his money, because there are some people who are believers out there. They want to win that 70-1. Maybe someone put their whole bankroll on them. I don't know, but it should be quite interesting. It's going to be great. But no one believed the way I felt. I would always put money on the chip leader, you know? It's such a safe bet. How can the chip leader lose this? You know, it's always the same story.
One big pot and no longer chip leader.
I mean, that is a very, very good point. Yeah. So in case you guys don't know, final table betting, you got to open the GG Poker client. There's probably about a minute left for you to get that final bet in. Look, if you just got even $1, just hurry up and throw it on that bottom guy if you want to. Maybe you get some nice return there. But final table betting will be closed shortly, and then we will be transitioning into some final player profiles, show you some little clips here and there, some hand histories like we always do on our GG Network show, and then we're going to get to the final table, pull cards up, and that should be a lot of fun to watch. All right, so stories of the week is that in the APL Trophy #1 tip-off, we've got these 5 guys who did very well. They're the notable players. You know, Jason Bourne was apparently playing this tournament, got 63rd place, but Easter Dams is one of the GG Network influencers, sponsored players. He got 50th place. Of course, these other 3 guys did pretty well too, because this tournament is a huge field, as you guys will see how many entries were in here on the next screen, I believe. Yeah, look at that. It's a total of, oh my God, 18,712 entries. That is a lot. The buy-in was 188 CNY. That equates to about $30 USD, I believe. But first place pays 400,000 almost CNY. That's almost like $63,000 in USD, like 61,000 USD for a $30 investment. I don't know how many, that's what, 2,000, some big number invest. It's just such crazy number. They started with 10,000 chips. They've got millions now. Well, Chip Leader has 51 millions. God knows how many people they need to bust, but that is the information for today's tournament. And let's take a look at the next screen. What do we got here? It's just me and you. You excited?
I'm very excited. Yeah, can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to have our short stack read it up.
All predictions out of the window.
And the funny thing is, he hasn't used a second of time bank since you told me about his maximum time bank. He still has 13 minutes and 34 seconds. And he's check raising again with nothing. Just want to remind you, it's nothing. This time, though, Bonwo actually makes a hand.
Romashka. Yeah, eventually you're going to be in trouble.
Just call Bonomo. There we go. And
that's it. That is it, guys. It is all over. Romashka gave us the show of the century. But in the end, the man who wins everything in the world of poker also wins his very first High Roller Super Millions. Justin Bonomo, the biggest name we have at this final table, walks away with $430,000. But I know you don't want to talk about Justin Bonomo. You want to talk about Romachka.
We are ready to get some player profiles, Lynne G. You are a cash game expert. Live, you primarily play live or exclusively live?
Almost exclusively live, yeah.
Exclusively live. So we're going to throw you into virtual felts. We're going to find out what you think about these tournament players, how they play hands. It's going to be different. You got to remember, this is a very small buy-in, right? $30 buy-in, but the payday is huge. So for some of these guys, it's just going to be like, you know, it's kind of like the main event, right? It's a $10,000 tournament. It's a $10,000 tournament there, right? And they're paying for millions of dollars. Here's a $30. It's the same equivalent. I imagine there's going to be guys here who's just going to try to ladder up.
Yeah, I definitely would. There's a lot of stacks that are middling, and yeah, if you can just like make it one more page up, the money matters.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's fine for us to see some player profiles. We're going to talk about some hands. We can dive into as much detail as we want to. We've got the time. These are the 9 players here at the final table. Who's the first guy we're going to look at? Let's see. It's Loris 51, our chip leader, 102 big blinds. He's an avatar collector. That means that on the Zodiac tournaments on the GG Network client, you can win the different avatars if you win some of those tournaments. You won a dragon, a pig, and a horse. This guy loves GG Network. 1.2 million in earnings. It's a lot. Largest win is 71,000. For 1.2 million in earnings is a lot because he doesn't play $10,000 tournaments like some of the other guys do, and they've only got like 3 million earnings. So this guy is probably a big crusher. He is our chip leader, 102 big blinds. You can see his scores there at Asia Poker Tour. He's coming in from China. Don't know much about it, but a $91 average buy-in, so he's probably a pretty big grinder, Lynn. Is it, maybe you see something else from his profile?
Probably. So I was just gonna say I'm really excited for this hand because he just plays it so trappy. Flops top pair, turns 2 pair, and just refuses to bet the entire time. And when he raises on the river, finally, like, to me, if someone checks it all the way down and then check raises, I'm gonna think they're bluffing. I'm not gonna think they have a hand. So yeah, way to get all the money in.
This hand seems quite weird, actually, because look, our chip leader here, he defends the big blind with the king jack suited. He flops top pair, and you checked it a pre-flop raiser. It makes a lot of sense, right? Then he turns 2 pair. He checks again. Makes sense. He's trying to trap his opponent, right? And checks, and he checks again. Then the river is an ace.
Doesn't even go for value.
He goes with one more check. He's like, let this guy either represent the ace or maybe he value owns himself. And he does that, and then he goes for the big check raise. But what about the river reshove from BF.com? Do you think maybe he overplayed his hand? Well, what's going on here?
I think a little bit, because at that point, like, our hand is just a bluff catcher, right? Like, this guy either has nothing or he's somehow gotten to the river with better than top pair. And yeah, I don't blame him. I probably would have played the same way, but maybe a little bit.
It seems a bit crazy, and then there's lots of bets going in on the river. So many checks on the previous streets, but for Loris 51, even though he got reshoved on the river, he has so few chips where it's just like side call, right? Like if this guy was, I don't know if he's value betting the ace 10 or if he's bluffing with the ace 10, but when your opponent has 4 more big blinds on the river, I don't know if you're going to get him to fold a better hand. So pretty weird hand. I think we're going to see some interesting stuff at this final table. We got a different mix of players. Here's the second guy. You were discussing how to say this guy's name. I'm going to let you give a crack at it first.
I'd go for Nesservan.
Nesservan? All right, here we go. Well, he's from Turkey. This is the Asia Poker League. His largest cash on GG is this event. Look, last guy, I told you he had 1.2 million GG poker earnings. This guy's got $1.4 thousand. Okay, like this is very, very low. We can only post 2 of his scores on his GG results. That's how little he's played on his site. His average buy-in is $17. This is a huge score for him, but he's coming in second place with 90 big blinds. Now, normally, when a guy who's kind of seems like he might want a ladder, right? Like they come in on the bottom, the 7th, the 8th, and 9th. They're trying to grind away, but he's coming in the top. So maybe he splashes around a little bit. It's like, I've got some room to throw away some chips. Or maybe he's like, I got more time to wait. We don't know, but it should be interesting. Maybe we can take a look at a hand history to determine how he plays. Oh my God. I read this hand earlier, and it's just crazy. Let me walk you through the action, and Lynn, maybe you're going to have to take over what the strategy is. In this hand, there's a raise and 2 calls, and it checks around on the flop like it always does. And in turn, Nestor Van bets, okay? He's got a pair of 6s on the Jack 8, 4, 4. Full flush draws, the opponent calls. Then the king and the flush gets there, okay? The flush gets there. And then he checks, and he calls an all-in shove with 2 6s on this board. What's going on here, Lynn?
So I really like it, actually. I think we're just betting the turn for value because once the in-position pre-flop raiser checks, we're hoping and we're assuming that they don't have better. Then on the river, now we have a bit of a bluff catcher. We check, and we manage to catch him. But I'm really impressed that he managed to find this call for his tournament life. It's a scary call to make.
This is an intense call, one of the crazy calls. Look, like, because usually you're trying to pick off some bluffs, right? When you're calling down, you think of hands you beat. And I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, man, this guy could have ace king. Maybe he's got like king jack, 2 clubs. Like, what does he beat? He beats the 10-9 that didn't bet the flop, which is, hard to say. He beats the queen 10, but would the queen 10 call a turn bet? I don't know, without a club. This is a heroic call. It was correct. So at the beginning, I was saying, is this one of those guys that's going to try to ladder up? Or is he a splashy guy? Well, looking at this hand, he's going to splash, Lynn, in my opinion.
I think he's playing for the win. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely playing for the win. It's a $30 investment. He's going for that 61K up top. And then we got that third person, Stack Raper here from Germany. He's only got $467 in GGPoker winnings. That's even less than the previous guy. He's got 3 results on GGPoker, and we've got to post his $64 prize. This is a huge score for this player from Germany. 41 big blinds. You got to remember, the chip leader has 100 big blinds, so there's a big difference between third and first. Let's take a look at his hand. Is it more ridiculous, crazy action? I'm curious to see. And, well, I think this hand's a little bit more normal. He defends the big blind. He check calls with his pair and a flush draw. Checks and calls again because he's still got a good draw, and it goes check, check. What are your thoughts on this? Should he maybe check raise the flop? Do you like to check call? What are your thoughts, Lynn?
I really like exactly how he played it. We have a great hand to check call with both top pair and a club. On the turn, we obviously can't fold, and I'm just on the river. I'm probably a little disappointed that no more chips go in. But we don't get put in the top spot, and we get to just take down the pot. So overall, a pretty standard hand.
My question is, okay, so some players, probably the newer players out there, right? They river the flush, the queen of clubs. It's a strong flush on a 4 flush, right? Is it better for you to value bet it yourself and just start leading, or is it better to check and try to induce a bluff?
I like checking just because I feel like if we lead, and we get like ripped on, I think it just gets us in a pretty tough spot because our opponent could definitely still have the ace of clubs or the king of clubs, and they should have a lot of hands that have those cards, being the pre-flop raiser. What do you think?
Guess in a sense, you're saying that it kind of avoids the spot of you accidentally folding the best hand, because you wouldn't bet call if you let out with the queen of clubs, I imagine, right? It's a little bit.
I wouldn't feel good about it.
yeah, you might call, but you don't feel good about it. But I guess checking makes it a lot simpler to play, but also potentially even the most plus EV way to play, in a sense that, well, maybe they just try to bluff you, because I don't think his opponent's going to be like sitting there with an ace-8 here, just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to call a random lead here on the 4 flush. It just would seem a little bit ambitious, but possible, but ambitious.
Last player did something like that.
Yeah, that's true. These guys are playing a little bit crazy. Maybe let's take a look at the next guy. I mean, they're all playing street poker here, even though it's a lot of money. Doubled 7 from the UK. His largest win on GG confirmed with 9th place finish. He's also only has 3,600 earnings on GG, $16 average buy. This is a huge tournament. Remember, we had, what, 18,000 entries or something crazy here. They outlasted so many players, so many different flights. Look, please tell me this hand here is not crazy too, because I'm just giving me a little heart attack. Let's take a look. 2 6s. All right, let's see. So in this hand, double 7 is the pre-flop raiser. He gets 3-bet by Dang James, and he calls the small 3-bet out of position with the 2 6s. Goes check on the flop. The turn, he has got a little straight draw. He checks again, and he calls the bet. And it seems pretty standard to me, Lynn. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this one?
Super standard. Yeah, I think in cash games, I would find a check raise on the turn some portion of the time. We just have such a good hand to do that with. But when we're playing for our tournament life, seems pretty reasonable to play a little bit more passively and just go ahead and see a river.
Now, I guess the only thing I would question is, on the turn, is it better for you to bet out yourself with the 2 6s here or check and try to control the pot in this situation? Because we know when your opponent checks the 4-4-3 rainbow flop, they kind of look like they got ace-king a lot, but then maybe they're being trapped with aces. It's a little bit tricky. It depends on who you're up against. But what are your thoughts on that, whether to bet or check with the 2 6s on the turn?
Yeah, I think I would like both quite a bit. But I do... It really just depends on what we think our opponent's doing with all their overpairs. I think because stacks aren't that deep, our opponent could just play 2 street game with their overpairs, which gives us more of a reason to check. But I think I would personally bet a lot just because we have the best hand a ton and we can look to get some value and deny equity.
Yeah, it makes sense because, like, say this guy's got ace-king, man, normally they're just going to keep checking it back unless they turn a flush draw, so why give them a chance to get some free shot of taking you out when they would probably just fold or call a turn bet? But no, that makes a lot of sense to me. Let's take a look at the next guy. Who do we have here? It is Peepo Stink, 32 big blinds. Now, this guy's a coach for Mid Coaching. He's got 236,000 in GG Poker winnings, so clearly an experienced player, $114 average buy-in. And he sold 25% of his action to one person. Now, I took a look at the lobby. I was like, okay, he sold to one person who bought 25%. That means he knows who this guy is. Must be a good player. And it was actually Ami Bear. I don't know if you're familiar with Ami Bear, but Ami Bear is a professional poker player who's done well in our Super Millions. He's won the Aussie Millions here in Melbourne. So, like, he must know something about this guy to buy 25% of his action. Is people think maybe steaming a little bit like, oh man, did I accidentally sell a lot of, because 25% of your action in the $30 tournament is $7.50, but now he could potentially win 61,000. So Ami Bear might win $15,000 if this guy ships the tournament today. Yeah,
it's a really good buy. Also, he seems to be one of the more experienced players in the field, so yeah, that's gonna take him a long way in this final table.
Well, he is hailing from Austria. Let's take a look at his hand history. Let's see if he's a reckless player. Oh, no, actually, before it, we actually had a little interview. One of the guys was willing to answer our interview questions, so you can read it here. Let's see. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's see. He started working with Mid Coaching. As you can see, there's an Instagram page. You can give that a look if you want to. He's been playing for 15 years, so he's a coach. So if you got to be a good player if you're a coach, right? You can't be coaching someone blind and just playing like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm coaching. So he's clearly a good player. He looks like he really enjoys it. Would mean a lot to him if he wins this APL. This is the very first event of the APL. Who would be your ideal opponent to play in the heads up for it all? Someone who's never made it this far in the field would be ideal. So basically he's saying, I want to pick on the players who aren't used to playing a heads up, aren't used to playing for these big prizes, because he feels like he's going to have the edge in that spot. And that makes a lot of sense for an experienced player here. Looks like he's saying that Loris, our chip leader, played very well and had some fortunate spots, and it's going to be hard to beat him. He is our chip leader, so he's very well, because you got to remember, these guys played with each other in the final 2, final 3 tables. They have a lot of experience, so they're not going in blind into this final table. And he did a lot of preparation for this final table. He studied some ICM spots. He studied some heads up. And then he went to have a walk with his girlfriend to get some fresh air and some espresso. So, you know, he still has that very balanced life. But like I've been saying, This is an insane amount of money for a $30 buy-in, so he's got to go with it. He would rather take the money on this one. It's just too hard to pass up. But you know what? If you win this tournament, people think you get the title and you get the trophy. Let's take a look at his hand history to see if he's a solid player or not. 2 queens in this hand. What's your thoughts on this hand? Looks like he checks the turn. Is that the right play? You turn the club draw, but there's an overcard and a flush gets there.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's playing maybe a little bit more pot control, but also when we check, we potentially get them to bluff at us on the river with some hands that wouldn't call a turn bet. So yeah, I really like how he played it.
Well, just like you said, that's exactly what happened on the river card. Troublemaker. I can't imagine him calling a turn bet without a club, so he probably would have folded the turn bet with bottom pair with very little equity against 2 queens in the club out there. And the river came a 4 flush, and Troublemaker's like, well, so hard for my pair of 3s to be the best hand. Let me turn my hand into a bluff. So he does bet, and the 2 queens do an easy pick off there. Yeah, you nailed it right on. Like, get your opponent to maybe turn their hands into the bluff and protect yourself, right? Because obviously with 2 queens, it's a strong hand on the turn. But if you got check raise on the turn, you might feel obligated to call the turn, and then the guy jams the river, and then you're just, I guess, on tilt, right, Lynn?
Hating life. Yeah, definitely not feeling good. I am not a big fan of folding second nuts ever, but definitely not enjoying the spot. Gotta ask you something though. What do you think of Troublemaker's bluff?
I do.
We just don't have anything, and
I think it's the right play with a pair of 3s. It's quite vulnerable. He can get a lot of better hands to fold. Like say he's got people think's got pocket 5s, pocket 6s, pocket 7s.
It's just such a small bet, right? Like
yeah,
we're only betting quarter pot. Are we really getting rid of much?
The betting is the right play. The problem with Troublemaker's line is he didn't bet enough. I would like to see him bet at least a 3rd pot, maybe half pot, maybe more, who knows. But when you bet this small, you're going to get some side calls, even from hands like ace, king, king, queen with no clubs, just because they're like, maybe you're turning your hand into bluff exactly as you do. If you're bluffing, you kind of want to make it harder for your opponent to call, right? A little size up. But I do think betting is the right play there. But let's take a look at the next guy, because we still got a few more players to investigate. Here is Bianchini Leandro from Argentina. One of our guys actually said this is the guy to bet on. It was Kevin Martin, as you saw in that earlier. 228,000 live cashes. He's got live experience. 2.368 million on GGPoker winnings. Okay, this guy is probably a big crusher. He's coming in 6th place, 23 big blinds. Probably one of the best players coming to final table, but sometimes it's the chips that does the talking. So we'll see. Let's take a look at his hand history and see what kind of plays he's up to.
Non-tournament player, though. I just want to know what this guy's doing playing a $30 tournament.
No. Well, look at this hand, Lynn. They're like, I'm usually knowing, I know what's going on usually, but this one, I have no idea. But let me tell you what happened in this hand. It's small blind versus big blind. He's trying to steal Jack 4 offsuit. Okay, he's being aggressive. Jason Bourne calls him, okay? 7-5-5 rainbow. He c-bets at the Jack 4 offsuit. It makes sense. Calls with King Jack, turns a pair of 4s, and he jams, and he gets called by King Jack high. Now you take over, Lynn, because I don't know what to talk about anymore.
I guess what happens is because the flop is paired, he expects exactly what happens, which is for our opponent to just float with a lot of 2 overcards. With that said, it still seems like a pretty absurd jam. I don't know how he got called by worse, but it looks like I need to start playing tournaments.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of value in tournaments. I can trust you on that. Obviously, in 18,000 player fields, not everyone's going to be a pro in there, so there's definitely a lot of value. There's a lot of still APL events running on GG, so you can hop into those. I believe there's some running now. But I want to, before I move on to the next player, Jason Bourne here, King Jack call on a turn. It's just like, I hope you've got a random 6. I don't know, but let's just move on because that hand was too ridiculous. Deng James here from Vietnam. This is the 8th tournament he's played on GG. He's got an $88 average buy-in. This guy cannot cash a tournament, but now he's finally cashed. He's coming in 7th place. 21 big blinds. You know what? I don't care if I don't cash a single event. If I'm going to cash this huge event, right? Like this is a big score.
It's the way to do it.
Look at his hand history. Alrighty, this is a 4-way all-in. Wow, that's pretty hard to do in a tournament. I imagine.
Yeah, we managed to outdraw a hand that we're chopping versus, and then a hand that's just straight up has us beat. So definitely managed to get there.
This is disgusting, Lynn. Okay, because normally, like, we get into ace kings against ace, or ace queens against ace king. We suck out with the 3-outer, right? Like, that happens.
Sure.
It's 30% chance of happening, right? But this one, Ganakis AK has got to be on tilt, right? Like, he's like, how did I lose? Well, I mean, I guess he would have lost to the ace queen anyways, but
yeah.
How did they shoot this pot? It's a flush. This is ridiculous.
It's the ace queen that should be on tilt. Yeah. I'm just looking at this like, how did I lose?
And not only is a 4-way all in, everyone has an ace, which is also a very hard thing to do. So our kicker plays. Obviously, this guy is really lucky for him to win a 4-way all in with everyone holding ace. He's chopping with one guy. God knows how he did it, but he did it. And he ran his luck all the way to our final table here today. But, you know, I guess there's not too much strategy insight on this one. So let's just move on to the next guy. WTF is this? Now, Cocky T bet on this guy. $408,000 in GG Poker earnings. He's won a WSOPC bracelet on GG Poker. It's a 6-max tournament he won, $1,500 buy-in. So it's a no snooze fest, 153K. So he's experienced at short-handed poker. If this tournament gets a little bit shorter and he runs to get a little lucky, he could easily shift this if he gets a little run good. But I've said earlier, Brazilian players are crazy. Now, I've done some commentary with my co-hosts in the 10K Super Millions. We've had Brazilian players, and they're reckless. They're 3-betting hands like Queen 3 offsuit and doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and that's a $10,000 buy-in. I don't know what this guy's up to. Maybe we can take a look at his hand history and get a little more insight. Yeah, this just pretty much explains it all. He checks the flop, okay, but what is this turn raise? WTF is exactly how I see it. Lynn, what do you think about this one?
Honestly, I like this hand. We pick up equity on the turn, and I know seeing 3 spades without a spade in their hand doesn't feel very good. But yeah, I can get behind this. It feels like, I'm not sure if we have any clean outs if I'm being completely honest, but I think we definitely have to go for it every now and then. And having heart counts for a lot.
I'm just going to go with WTF is this is the perfect, like our production's got the perfect hand for this screen name from Brazil. I'm excited to see this guy play. Cocky T, I mean, like, I don't know if Cocky T would have put some money on this guy if he saw his hand history, because he'd be like, this is not solver approved, okay? This is just next level Brazilian poker. I don't know what it is, but it got it done. He actually was battling it out with our second place guy here at the final table tier, Nair Savan. So it should be interesting because these guys are probably watching the stream, going to see the pre-show and be like, oh my God, I didn't realize this guy was this crazy.
I wonder if he's going to change his play after seeing these hands.
It's very, very possible. But you know what? A lot of guys, right? They show the bluff, right? And then they start to calm down and try to show down good hands. But if I learned one thing about the Brazilian players, they don't stop. They really don't. They're just like, I'm going to win the tournament now, even though there's 9 other people at the table, because that's the way we do things. This hand is just, I keep looking at his hand and I'm just thinking, not for me, not my style, but that's all right. Let's take a look at the next player. And this is the guy at the very bottom, the M. Jet Kiss put his money on it. He has 2.6 big blinds, Lynn. It's very
sounds like a great opportunity to triple up, quadruple up. I just see potential. I don't know about you.
Well,
and more importantly, when we look at his results, it seems like if he spins up a stack, he has some experience getting deep into final tables.
That's a good point. I'm going to guess what happened is that he lost a big pot before this final table was set, maybe 10 or 11 hand, and he was forced to be playing the 2.6 big blinds going into the final table here today. He seems more experienced than a lot of our guys at our final table. He is hailing from Austria. 2.6 big blinds. He's got a lot of work he's got to do, but there are people who put money on him. 72 to 1 odds. So if you put $100 down, you're gonna get a crap load of money back. Let's take a look at his hand history. In this hand, and what has he got here? All right. Oh my God, is this the cooler of all coolers? So what do you think about this one, Lynn?
Well, I guess the one thing I'll say is I'm a pretty big fan of us just checking the flop because we let our opponent get there. But obviously, once we hit the turn, it's purely a cooler, and that's a very fortunate river for us.
Yeah. Very, very fortunate for the M. And you can see he goes for a max value, jams the river. Of course, he was going to get called by 2 deuces, but if his opponent had like an ace-9, ace-8, maybe he calls and gets max value there. So, you know what? That's our final 9 players here today, going to our final table. We are going to be going to our final table shortly and have our whole cards up. That's the beautiful thing on GG Poker. We don't do whole cards down where we don't know what's happening. We have whole cards up. We get to see all the crazy players, all the hands that go, bet, fold, and all those things. It's going to be exciting here. Let's take a look at the final table. Can we do that production ahead of time and see where people are seated? Maybe talk about what we think is going to happen. Here we go. So the tournament's supposed to resume in 2 minutes. Here is our final table, our different stack sizes. People Stink, you can see her there on the bottom left right now. He's the guy where he sold 25% of his action to Ami Bear, a big sale. Yeah. Do you know about this helmet though on Bianchini? Have you seen that before, Lynn? You see there's like that.
What is that? No, haven't seen anything like that.
I saw it for the first time on one of our GG Super Millions show, and basically it mutes the other players. Yeah, I'm not too sure how familiar with the GG client you are, but you can spam emojis mid hand throughout the hand and do all sorts of cool stuff.
I love the clocks.
Yep, there's a shot clock. I believe the shot clock will be in play here as well. And we're gonna have seat switching. I don't know if do you know about seat switching, Lynn?
No, I don't. Yeah, that's a cool feature.
Let me walk you through this real fast before we start. So at GG Poker, it's a unique feature, and when you reach the final table in pretty big events, there's a final table seat switching. So how it works is the short stack, so the M in this situation, gets the option to switch his seat with any player at the table first. Okay. Wow. Then the 8th place guy will go next, and the 7th, and so on. So the chip leader will get to choose last on who he wants to position on. So, if you're very close from first to second, it does actually pay to be the chip leader going into the final table, because you get to say, if you're the chip leader, where do you want to seat if you get to choose?
Honestly, I would really like my seat exactly in this lineup where I have direct position on the second biggest stack. And actually, no, I'm going to take that back. I actually want position on some of the middling stacks that have to compete with each other to ladder up, because I feel like I would be able to place the most pressure on them. What about you?
Well, usually the chip leader does take position on second place guy, unless there is a middling stack that's a very aggressive known player. Here, you're going to see this final table switching yourself. You can see here, 9M, he's got 10 seconds to choose where he wants to seat. To be honest, where he picks the seat doesn't really matter. Because they're going to hot potato around him, right? So the WTF is this. He's the 8th place guy. It really doesn't matter until the final 4 guys, I would say. So the first time I saw this, I really had no idea what to do. I just know that the chip leader should usually take position on the other big stacks. The reason is you kind of handcuff them, because at the $30 buy-in tournament, obviously 61K is a huge payout for first place, right? They're going to be ICM handcuff a lot of times. They're not going to want to bust when the guy's got 2.6 big blinds. They're going to fold more, let you raise more. So the chip leader has a huge advantage here. Bianchini couldn't even decide where to seat it, so he just timed out.
Yeah, I wonder how much time they spend thinking about this strategy of what seat they want.
Well, if you're an inexperienced player, you might have not even known this existed. That's the funny thing. 'Cause yeah, all the guys in the 10K, they know because they play all the big tournaments all the time. They know about this stuff. But here they don't. So you can see that the M just got moved over. We are getting to the top stacks now. This is the important part. Let's see where Stack Raper is going to choose to see. He's taking position on the second place guy. Now the second place guy, where is he going to pick? Yeah, that's the interesting one. Okay, so he's trying to sit over there. And now Loris, our predictions, he sits right after Nersevin.
It looks like it.
We'll find out soon. Well, maybe he's got no idea. He just expired, so you know what? He's gonna sit there.
Interesting.
So we're gonna use an individual game clock, the shot clock, another unique feature on the GG Poker Network. So I believe they get 15 minutes, but we'll find out soon. In the sense that once your time bank runs down to 0, your shot clock, you only get like 5 seconds back from now on. It is 15 minutes for each player. Cards are underway. And let's go, Lynn. First hand looks a little dry, I would say. 20 big. He's limping the ace queen. What I don't see limping too much, but is this a good play, bad play? What are your thoughts?
Seeing that we are one of the shorter stacks, I can definitely see an argument made for this. I don't play tournaments. If I see a limp in cash games, I immediately mark them down as a fish and move on. But looks like we are forcing the big blind to play some more hands. So
yeah, it's funny because the big blind is also the chip leader, who's probably more likely to stab than anyone else. This is going to be kind of tricky with the ace queen because this flop and this turn really does hit the big blind. I would like to see Loris bet. I think you probably agree with me, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he is going to bet.
Do you peel versus a pot size bet? Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I'm out. I'm out of here. Like
me too.
I'm way out of here. This board connects that big blind, especially if you let the big blind see a free flop like he's got any 2 cards. So what should happen? I know you're not that experienced in tournaments, but you probably got some good intuition just as a cash game player. Everyone should be folding right now. That's not the big stacks. The reason is the M is got 2 big blinds and he's shoving queen 8. And everyone here is just like, please bust this guy. Because there's big payouts coming up here, and looks like there's going to be some action. All right, so we got a little coin flip. What's going to come? That's bad, huh?
No help yet. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. You know how pissed off the other guys are right now? They're like, did you really not let this 2.6 big blind guy double up? That's just a start. Hey, what did you say to me?
6 big blinds. I'm liking my prediction.
Your prediction. And also one of the Twitch streamers, he decided he put money on the M. 70-1. It's pretty hard to pass up. It is a 30 USD buy-in. They're guaranteed $3,000 right now. It's a lot. It's you know this. So what? 100x. Jeez, it's pretty good here. You can see a little steal from Loris. So, you know, you're a cash game player, so you're gonna have some different insight to a tournament player. But I think whenever we see some post flop stuff, you're just gonna nail it because listening to you during the pregame show, it seemed like you really knew what you're talking about. But before we talk, I want to remind you, be sure to stay tuned if you're watching on the stream. Check out the chat. We've got little free rolls coming 1 in 5 minutes, and the password is flip, capital F and lowercase LIP. But we got a coin flip here. Oh my God, this guy! Did he really get another double up? Did he? He did. He did.
He's lucky when it counts.
Yeah. So the guy, okay. Let me let you know something. This guy came with 2.6 big blind. He's got the almost the same stack as the 8th place guy, but he's 70-1, and the WTF is like what 15-1 or something similar. That is a huge difference in payday. But I guess with 2.6 big blinds, anything can happen. Now he's actually in real contention to come back here.
Absolutely, one more double and he's in 3rd place. So
Yeah. Jeez,
make it happen.
he's not scared at all. He's defending the king four of clubs and actually flops nut flush draw against the top pair. I don't know. What do you think? Ace five is a standard bet. It looks like. I guess you just jam with king four. I don't know. What do you think?
We didn't win those 2 flips to get the money in with 35% or whatever we have. Why don't we call on see? Well, that's an interesting card. I think we have to check it down. Yeah, they do play fast. Yeah.
So the M checked the turn with his pair. Ace five for doubled 7. He's got top pair. He checks again. Do you bet now with the ace five or do you check?
I don't like what we're chopping with other ace X. It just doesn't feel that good. I'm pretty happy checking back, especially as like you said, there's a lot of similar stacks.
The big blind's got 10 big blinds remaining. Doubled. Okay, he's reconnecting, so we can talk through his hand a little bit more. It does seem like if the M did have a good hand, he would value bet himself. So maybe he can get his opponent to fold a chop, doubled 7, hypothetically, if he jams. It's something to think about, right?
Maybe. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how nitty these guys are at the final table, but he's just going to go for the check. And yeah, he wins that pot. Looks like he's sitting out, so his connection's bad over in the UK, but yeah, it's all right. 2
Jack
5s.
offsuit.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Let's see. 2 5s under a gun, 20 big blinds. Is this an open? It looks like it is. Some players fold just because they respect the final table ICM. But this can see, I feel like none of these guys are scared, which is strange considering how much money's on the line for their buy-in.
Can't play scared. It's not how you take it down.
I agree. Yeah, it's funny because like these guys are reckless, and I'm watching the 10K Super Millions that I do the commentary on. There's guys, some of these guys are really tight on there. It's a very different game. Yeah. Here is the bet. 2 5s is tough spot. He makes the call. Wow. Okay. And there's Savannah. Oh, value betting queen dude. This is thin.
Yeah.
Very, very thin.
I like it though. I really like it.
Can Dang James find a call 2 5s? What do you think? He's thinking about how often his opponent has a flush draw and straight draw. And would he bet again?
I don't think he folds, but I think he should because we have to fold out some hands going into the river, and this is just going to be one of our worst. Yeah, finds the fold.
Right. It does seem like he could show up with better hands than pocket fives to call with like a queen jack, a queen 10. It actually would be the best hand.
Deuces just get tossed into the muck.
Yes, you can see the difference. You can see the difference in play because Bianchini had the 2 deuces, right? And he's the professional, right? And they approach hands very differently than some of the other guys. And this is a very, very small 3-bet from Nierservan. This is a 5 big blind total re-raise despite playing 80 something big blinds effective stack. 4-bet.
Getting after it.
Now, in our interview from People Stink, he said Loris was very aggressive, a very good player, and he's doing that chip leader bullying on the second place guy, but second place is not folding yet.
If he keeps doing this, he might not be chip leader for long.
Yeah, it might not be. There's all sorts of crazy turns and rivers could come. You 4-bet the ace 5 offsuit. I guess you feel obligated to bet the flop. Otherwise, if you start checking, you don't look like you got aces anymore. He's gonna fire. So flop seems standard to me. Turn. Do you think it's hard to bet again of ace 5? Clearly, he's got nothing, but he's trying to represent aces, right?
Yeah, we don't block anything relevant. At this point on this river, I could see an argument for a bet. It's just when we have close to pot behind, it gets a little confusing as to what size.
Now, these are a lot of chips on line. This is first and second place guy, and you're right. He's no longer chip leader after dusting off some chips on that pot. And there's Savan. He's got 57 million. I felt like his sizing was a little bit small pre-flop, but it somehow actually worked out for him. Because he got his opponent to actually 4-bet on ace 5 offsuit. Pretty crazy.
Also, I think just as like the second chip lead versus the biggest stack, it makes sense to 3-bet a little bit smaller because we're not trying to play big pots out of position.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense too. Yeah, which very tricky hand. King Queen opens under the gun, 2 aces, the dream scenario. Do you ever slow play this, or do you think you should always just re-raise jam like this?
We just don't have enough chips, I don't think. Yeah.
My read is you can get away with slow playing this against a weaker player, right? Like someone who's inexperienced, doesn't understand that you don't have much of a flatting range there. But Bianchini, right? Like this guy's the guy with 2.2 million GG poker winnings. He knows what he's doing. He's gonna know when you flat call him there, like you always have some big hand. Yeah. So wow. So there was over $300 of bets on putting on 70 to 1. Geez, how much would that pay out if the M actually ends up shipping it? Let's see how much. $2,100. Nice. That'd be pretty sweet. No, did I do the math right? Sorry. 200.
21,000.
21,000. Math.
Yeah.
My calculator was broken, but $21,000 in bets if the guy the M ships the tournament. Yeah, I'll tell you, poker shares will definitely be losing money if the M wins this tournament. Interesting spot here, actually. Bianchini, he's got 19 big blinds. He's up against the once upon a time chip leader. He's aggressive. Limp raise fold. Looks like he's limping.
I expect to see a limp call here, I think, a good amount of the time. As Bianchini, would you be limping most of the hands that you want to continue with, Nano?
Yeah, so that's the reason I said it was interesting in the beginning is that I felt like Loris is an aggressive player, obviously from the ASL, obviously we know this.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's going to get raised a lot, and Bianchini has to fold a lot of his range because Bianchini understands tournament poker. He knows he shouldn't bust before the guys with 9 big blinds coming up. I feel like he's burning so many chips. I know a 7-5 suit is a standard limp, but like maybe it's just better for him just to fold outright if he's just going to fold 3 deuce off, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we can like assume that our opponent is just raising 100% of hands, which based off like we're seeing Loris play most of his hands so far. I can definitely see an argument for just saving ourselves that extra small blind, letting it go.
Yeah. I'll tell you this though, if the M was playing 20 big blind stack, our shortest stack, I don't think he's limp folding the 7-5 suit. He's probably more likely to limp call. But at final tables, your chip stack, your tournament life is very important because of the huge pay jumps. Now we're playing I believe it's an 18,000 man tournament, so the pay jumps are extra large this time. It's not like you're getting an extra 5 buy-ins here. Every pay jump gets you a lot of buy-ins. So 9th place is going to pay $6,000 and 8th place pays $8,000. So it's $2,000 difference. That's 70 buy-ins of this tournament. You can play it 70 times for free. It's a lot. Interesting. Okay, look at this. Loris just defend. It seems like to me that Loris is playing a lot of hands. He's just like, well, I got the chip. Are you aware of the number to the left of the shot clock in the little fire?
No, what is that?
Okay, so you see how there's a 46 and a little ring of fire next to Loris's name on the right. So the number it represents the VPIP.
Wow, okay.
So he's played 46% of the hands so far at this final table, and I'm
surprised it's not 100. It feels like it.
Yeah, it's quite high right now. And the fire means he's been running hot. So it means he's been winning more hands than normal. So sometimes if it's nothing, that means it's kind of normal. If you'll see an ice cube, sometimes that means that guy's running cold. He's just like losing pot after pot after pot. So GG Poker has a built-in HUD for you. It's a simple HUD for you. But you can also click. Like if you were playing the client, you could click on people and see how much they've won in tournaments too. So all sorts of cool built-in features, unique.
More than anything, I think the skin just makes playing poker a lot more fun between the emojis and then like the little fire and a nice cube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the emojis is the most popular thing on here.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to clock the shit out of all of my opponents. So
Yeah, I would love to see these guys do some emojis. If they're watching, please spam some emojis for us so we can see the difference. 2 jacks and 2 queens. Wow, the M is gonna get another double up or what?
hopefully, let's not jinx it.
I mean, I'm not trying to jinx anything, but it sure looks like it because he's running hot. He's gonna get a fire after this one. 2 queens
Need to
against
fade
2
the jack.
jacks. Should be pretty easy. One more card to go, and he's got 9 million of chips. Oh no! Did I jinx
Come
it?
on.
I jinxed it, Lynn.
Soon.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I feel bad.
Me
now.
and the 300 people that bet on him. You failed us.
I feel real bad. No, because I was like this. We're gonna be talking about this guy all night, but apparently we are not. But you know, he only had 2.6 big blinds. If I'm that guy, I'm disappointed. Of course, right? Queen versus Jack.
We just lost 7 big blinds. That we had to win 2 flips to get there.
He was expected to go out first, so you know he hung in there. He got to play a little bit extra. Regardless, he still cashed for $6,100 for a $30 buy-in. It's a great payday. I know he's disappointed, but coolers happen. I'm sure you see it all the time.
Yeah, he definitely can't be too disappointed. $6,000 not a bad payday. His largest win is 11. So yeah.
Yeah. So remember, not too long ago, these other guys were probably on tilt that guy didn't bust yet, right? But now they're celebrating. They can't believe this guy just sucked out on him, right? Got a $2,000 pay jump for everyone. 8,194 USD guaranteed for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, Lynn, I have my co-comment. Oh my God, I should have finished the story before I said it. No, you have no idea. And I even tweeted it before the show started. I said, I'm glad Roddy's my co-commentator for the 10K Super Millions. You're not doing this co-commentary for me today because he always says Pocket Fours makes a set. And I can't believe Pocket Fours has made a set. This is ridiculous. And it's getting the craziest action.
How does he get a bet and a raise? Like, what is King Jack doing in here?
King Jack
really like the flat.
Razor. Yeah, this flat.
I'm a really big fan.
Now the flat does look pretty strong, but with Ace 8 and these stack sizes, how can you not just get it in?
There it goes.
Jesus, I can't believe this guy flopped a set.
So how good does it feel when all the money goes in and you just don't have to fade a single card?
I know the tourney's like, oh, please don't have a random diamond draw. Maybe it's that helmet that he's muting everyone, so he's like in the zone. He's like flopping sets at the right time. I don't know, but he's one of our most experienced. Oh, there's the emoji there from Nice Hand from People Stink. But Bianchini is one of our most experienced players here at the final table today. 2.3 million in earnings, I recall. He's got a big stack, 40 big blinds. So he might be a different player now that he got that little bit of a double up.
Looks like the next player they are waiting for to bust is Danny James. And wow, Loris takes a hand off.
Oh, you know, after Loris lost the ace 5 off to him, maybe he's like, maybe I fold some spots a little bit more, you know? He's no longer on fire, you see that? He's got a little bit of a fire, but not a big one like Bianchini there. Yeah, so let's see. These are all junky hands. I'm curious to see, because all these guys got some decent stacks. Is one of them going to step up to the plate and try to steal?
I can see Loris getting
yeah, he's the one, right? He's the one doing it. It wouldn't
shock
you if
he just raise? Yeah, there you go.
Doesn't shock me at all.
Makes it look easy.
I think it's the right play. Like, you know, if I'm a chip leader, I would feel things out. If people are letting me get away with some steals with some really bad hands, then you might as well go for it. Yeah, he's probably going to raise 100%. Here too, isn't he? You think he's going to? No, okay. He folded the 10-6 also on the button.
Good for him. Yeah.
What do you think of this limp with the 2 aces in the small blind against the 19 big blind stack, roughly?
I really like it. Stacks are short enough. Also, I'll just say this: like, even as a cash game player, small blind versus big blind when there's an ante, like, I'm pretty happy in limping every single hand I want to continue with. So yeah, seems like a pretty fine strategy.
Well, now he's like, okay, it's a little bit too many draws for a free hand. Let's just start betting out. Don't want to see. Jack 10 is just like, okay, let's go. This is aggressive. I'm not. It does look strong. He probably would get a lot of hands to fold, to be honest, but it's just bad timing. But with this hand, it seems a little reckless. I don't know if you agree or not, Lynne.
Definitely feels a little reckless. I don't really know what we're going for here. Although I will say, I used to be a player that just raised every lead because I assumed every lead had to have been full of shit.
Well, what do you think about the turn? Because this is even more ambitious with Jack 10 high.
I like it if you give up on the river.
I mean, I don't expect him to even see a river card.
Well, WTF is living up to his name. Some things just don't change.
Yeah, so what did I say? I said the Brazilian players are crazy. Would you kind of agree now? Like, because that hand seemed...
Absolutely. It seemed very unnecessary.
Yeah,
like
also,
we could have saved ourselves a lot of chips.
Do you remember the hand history too? He was the guy with the ace-3 offsuit raising the turn. All right, like his screen name is matching some of the things he's doing a little bit. He's just such a crazy aggressive player. 8-9 here. Sucks, huh? Because you feel like you want to jam, but your hand's kind of weak. You got 7 big blinds. Works out.
Do you expect a limp or a raise from people here?
He should be limping because he's up against a big stack. In general, you want to keep the pots as small as possible when you're like these middling stacks. When there's like guys with like 10 big blinds, it's just a disaster to bust first. So you can see People's Thing is also one of the more experienced players, so he's not going to try to be reckless here. I think we're going to get action near the bottom of the table. It depends if Bianchini wants to kind of spice things up or not. Looks like he's going to raise it up. 2 4s. He's out. People's Think too. What do you think? 20 big blinds. It's a tough spot. It's a tricky one, actually.
I don't think we're ever allowed to just fold. I think we can go ahead and flat. Oh, although I guess something I've been seeing in tournaments, which is just so weird to me, is just like min clicks. It's just the smallest raises.
That's definitely not going to happen here. I doubt that's going to happen.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think
million?
that's going to happen. Yeah. People's Think. So you can see he's in a tough spot because he probably's got fold equity.
Ow.
Yeah, he just folds outright.
What? That's ridiculous.
The thing is, the pay jumps are huge. He's a pro. He knows that Dang James and WTF is so short. We're going to go into the break. And if you're viewing from YouTube or Facebook, be sure to transition over to the YouTube channel if you're watching on Twitch or Facebook, because we're going to transition over there and close out the stream. So, go ahead and take a break, guys. We'll be back shortly.
Yeah.
The GGPoker Wildcard Cam.
Welcome in once again to the GGPoker Wildcard Cam, taking a look at some classic hands on GG featuring some of the game's very best. All right, Brent, this time on the Wildcard Cam, we go to the World Series of Poker main event. You familiar with the name Fedor Holtz?
I think I've heard of him, and I'm also familiar with the one and only Randy Lou. There he is.
It's not. That's not Nanonoko.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not him. That is Olashemion, though. This is Fabian Quas. in the small blind, and it's Fedor in the big blind. So we're playing with 2222999, who does have queens, and we're trying to guess Fedor's hand. So really, best of luck to all of us, because who knows with Fedor.
How is there a 9 and a 2 on the flop? This guy's name is 2222999. That's way too many 9s and 2s. I pay attention to details, Chef.
That much is very clear. Fabian checks, Fedor checks, over to our guy with the queens. All right, let's start thinking. What could Fedor have? Does he have a pair of 9s? Does he have the gut shot? Does he have the set of 5s? Does he have pocket 3s?
Normally, I think that Fedor would have nothing but a disgusting bluff with little to no equity, but this time, just this time, I think Fedor flopped middle set. I think he's scrapping.
We can't have a queen, right? If our guy has 2 of them, that's what they call blockers, Brett. Whew. Poker analysis is top notch, although there is a queen on the river. Give me pocket 3s. Give me pocket 3s for Fedor, I think. Yeah, pocket 3s.
He's for sure got a set of 5s here, and this is a disaster of a river for the young prince.
Nope, he's going to be able to get away from the 3s very easily.
I don't think so.
Yep.
I don't think so. He's going to play for max value. Set of 5s, Jeff. Watch and learn. Watch and learn.
What a sick bluff. Goes 3x pot with just a pair of 3s, Brent.
Who does that? Who goes 3x pot? Well, Fedor Holtz does. And why? Because he has a set of 5s.
Because it's a crazy, maniacal bluff. It's 3s.
Elke was waiting to come back to the final table.
Fedor Holtz stings. Oh my God.
Michael Adamo is the best. Hey guys, welcome back to the APL series here, event number 1. Now, if you were watching during the break, you saw a GG wildcard cam promotion there where you had to pick the hand that you think one of our opponents had there. So be sure to enter in the chat your GG nickname, you know, which hand you thought it was. You need to be subscribed to the YouTube channel of the GG Poker in order to qualify to win. We're going to reveal what that final hand is near the end of the stream, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But welcome back. We've lost one player. Lynne, how's it going? Lynne, you're muted. I think you might be muted, Lynne. I don't know if you hear me.
Yeah, I hear you. Definitely was muted. Also, just quickly to our Chinese viewers, 我的中文不好，但是我想欢迎一下中国观众。Also, 也希望大家新年快乐。Just took a second to, welcome everyone. Happy New Year. Did you do anything to celebrate, Randy?
No, I mean, just the family, pretty much little things, but, whoa, okay. So before we will talk too much chit chat there, she looks like the 2-9, 3 got it in with WTF is this. Queen Jack offsuit actually got there against 2-9. So it was a coin flip, but nice little dub up for our Brazilian guy who kind of did something crazy with the Jack 10 offsuit earlier. But no, New Year was cool. But do you have a big gathering or anything, or what's going on?
No, usually when I'm at home, we celebrate, but this time I was in Vegas, so yeah, very relaxing.
So you're grinding up in Vegas, is that right?
Mostly, traveling a lot. Just got back from Aspen, did some snowboarding.
Where'd you go to snowboarding? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Aspen? Yeah,
Aspen.
Colorado was just dumping snow, so
yeah,
it was a good time to go.
Cool. That's good to hear. So you're just living the life, just traveling for funsies.
Yeah, went on a downswing, decided to take a break, and yeah.
Well, that's all right. That's what you need to kind of get back in the game sometimes, right? Like if you're on a downswing, you're not gonna, it's like, well, why dump some more money when I can spend that money on vacation? You know what I mean?
That's exactly how I saw it. Yeah, vacation felt cheaper. But this is an interesting turn.
Yeah.
Loris makes top pair. Bianchini can't fold.
It's a limp pot too. Check on the flop. But with this hand, he's going to have to continue. I think he's going to want to contain the pot, so I don't expect him to raise. So he does check call. Knowing Loris, he's going to value bet the river, and he's got a bad image so far, right? I'd imagine everyone knows that. So
Bianchini has been playing really solid though.
Yeah.
I could see us getting away from this hand.
Mandatory bet of King 8, I imagine blind versus blind. It is going to be half pot. Is there any chance the 10-9 could call? Is this a bad hand to consider calling with? Some blockers? I don't know.
Versus half pot, I think I think it just has to be a side call. I'll be very impressed if you can get away with it. With that said, I don't think we like having hearts in our hand. I'm not sure how we feel about the 10.
Yeah, the 10 is not a good card in the sense that you're blocking some of the draws that you're trying to catch. So, Bianchini agrees because, like, the 10 of hearts, right? Like, because you want to catch the 10-5 of hearts random bluff or, like, the 10x random bluff. So, holding that 10 is actually not a good card to bluff catch with. Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance that half pot just looks a little more value heavy?
For sure.
And that, like, yeah.
People think about that a lot. Now, of course, we're not aware of how these guys play of all the different bet sizings, but if you're a professional like Bianchini, you're going to read into bet sizings, right? That's why you try to be as balanced as you can. So, but, like you said, he's been pretty solid. Don't expect him to really get too crazy out of line. He understands these pay jumps.
Yeah.
It seemed like a solid play the way he did it, right? Because imagine if he bet the turn, or he, maybe he gets raised and ends up having to pay more money to see that river card. Who knows? But,
that's two hands now where I just lose an extra street where he doesn't, and having all of that experience in tournaments definitely shows.
Yeah, so because like in a cash game, right? The best line in a cash game is always to choose whatever's the most plus CV. What's going to yield you the most chips, right? In a tournament, final table, it's actually very different. The most plus EV play actually isn't the one that yields you the most chips in the long run, because you need to think about how often your stack might be at risk, which also might put you to bust out first with these huge pay jumps. It's actually a very different game. And I think we got a mixture of players here at the final tables. So some people are going to be aware of this and some are not. So it's going to be a bit interesting to see how things go. You probably might have noticed there's a golden ring around one of our players. WTF is this at the bottom? Do you see that?
I do.
Yeah. So the golden ring is it represents that he won a flagship tournament here on GG. So he might have won, like, hypothetically, like a bracelet event or like one of these APL titles or like a WSOP, just like something like this, some kind of big tournament. So he's the only one here who's done it. And then when you click into their profile name, it tells you what tournament specifically. You get little badges. So remember the chip leader Loris, he collected three zodiacs or something, like a pig, an ox, or something. I'm not sure how that. Yeah, dragon. I'm not sure how it works. It can't be the year of if you win a zodiac tournament in that year, right? Like this means this guy's been playing like some crazy amount of years. But it would be pretty funny if that was true. Alrighty, so
King
Jack. We know how the Ace King's going to play it. What about the King Jack suited? Should he defend? Should he reshove? What are the thoughts that's going through your mind?
We just can't be folding King Jack suited. I know we only have.
Folding.
Yeah,
he's not folding, but he's got 10 big blinds to start the hand, and I imagine this is WTF is just going to min raise or whatever. He is going to practically min raise. Do you think it's better to defend, or is there enough chips to pull equity?
I mean, I think better call, worse fold. And the chips go in.
Yeah, just ships it in. He needs a jack or some hearts. I guess he's almost drawing dead. No, he's not. Not.
He's not.
He needs some love.
Red? Not gonna do it.
Next guy out. So he cashes for 52,000 CNY, which is the equivalent of 8,194 USD. Still pretty good performance. I don't recall what place he came to our final table in. I'll have to take a look. But still pretty big score.
It's also a lot easier saying that I would just call the King Jack when I'm looking at my opponent having Ace King. But without that level of clairvoyance, King Jack seemed like a perfectly fine rip for 9 big blinds.
Yeah, I want to talk about that hand, but we got a bigger spot right here. Okay, there's a raise, a smooth call of 2 10s, a smooth call of 2 jacks, a jam with the Ace King. What do you do here with 2 10s? Oh my God, it's a 33 big blind shove. The 2 10s, what if the 2 jacks got a call, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Crazy hand. Oh my God, our big pro here needs to hit an ace or king, or he's in really big trouble. He does not do it. Wow. Let's talk about that. I don't know if you remember the People Stink opened near Savannah. Our chip leader smooth calls the 2 10s. I think it's probably better to 3-bet, but we'll just give him the benefit of doubt. He just smooth calls the 2 10s. Stack Raper just calls with 2 jacks. I kind of would have liked him to rejam himself potentially. I don't know, against the 20 big blind open.
Me too. Yeah. Especially just being in the small blind and with a open and a call coming before us. It seems like a pretty profitable spot.
Yeah, he's got like a lot of fold equity, right? And the open raise has only got 20 big blinds, where it's not really that big a deal. If you lose, you still have like 10 big blinds. Was it kind of interesting? I think he would have got it in against Bianchini anyways. I would love to see those 2 jacks actually played more aggressively, and even the 2 10s maybe more aggressively too for an air Savan. But Bianchini, he's down to 2 million in chips. This is the guy who Kevin Martin put money down, and he's typing in Argentinian, I believe, Spanish or something. I don't know what he typed. It was something foreign.
Malo has to be bad, right?
He probably said something that doesn't need to be translated. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're getting a translation. Interesting. Little pot coming up here.
Do we think Loris is going to call another bet? WTF has to bet this, right?
Oh, he has to bet this. I don't think the Jack 7 should be calling with this hand. It just seems like. But if he does call, it's because he's up against a Brazilian guy who actually is pretty crazy.
What? This guy just gets dealt Ace King every hand?
I know he's been crazy. Right? Now they're trying to they're rewarding him right now. You know, that's okay. People got to get lucky. Takes it down.
How crazy have we seen Loris play post flop? Because he's definitely been playing a lot of hands. But I don't see him getting as out of line as WTF.
Yeah, I would suppose so. But I guess he hasn't been getting he's been getting made hands. So like, let's give him some high card
Sure.
hands and let's see if he blasts away. But yeah. So our
To be
stacks are
fair-
actually evened out if you look carefully. Like 3 guys with very similar stacks. Our chip
Yeah.
leader and 240 millions. 2 guys with 20 million. People stinks at near the bottom, but obviously they're waiting for Bianchini to boss. He's got 3 big blinds. And the funny thing is the 6-3 clubs usually doesn't want to call, but for 2 more big blinds, like how can you fold?
There's also an Annie in there, so it's, I don't know, like
So
it
he
feels like
think-
we're getting infinite.
So it's 1.1 million more to call to win the 3 million in the pot, right? Oh, well, actually, King 6 is going to make the call. So now I believe the 6-3 could probably get away.
Yeah,
Just because
absolutely.
hope his opponent just busts. Yeah. Oh, he does make the call though, interestingly. But he's actually drawing real bad here.
Yeah. Somehow the best hand manages to hit nothing and come in 3rd
Yeah.
place on the spot.
Oh, do you understand this? Bueno. Gay.
Yeah, I
Gosh.
mean, look, I'm about to pull up Google Translate at this point. I feel like
Yeah,
we're missing out.
Yeah. Bueno. Yeah. This is Spanish, right?
I mean, we're seeing some Chinese as well.
Look at this guy. This guy's got Google Translate himself. Is putting good game. Like, what's going on here? He's like letting the other Chinese guys know at the table. Good game. Like, I want to know. Looks like he will be our next place finisher. He is going to bust in 7th place. He's going to cash for 70,000 yuan, which is 11,000 USD. So a really big score there. WTF is this? Man, you gotta remember this guy was super short not too long ago, the Brazilian player. He
Yeah.
bluffed off a lot of chips, Jack 10 into aces, and now he's sitting pretty. He's typing Chinese too, the Brazilian guy. What everyone using Google Translate here.
Does GG give players the option to just like hit some preset messages, do you think?
No, they don't.
Like, no? Oh, wow. Okay, I haven't found it.
No, they don't. They don't. Yeah, you can clearly type in English or like English characters because we saw the bueno earlier, but
Yeah.
these guys, well, they did. Oh, I think he meant well GG. That's what he meant. That's what he
makes
typed
sense,
it in. And then he typed in GG to the Chinese guy to translate to him in case he didn't understand GG. But I think everyone knows GG. So yeah, he's out in 7th. We're actually down to 6 people very quickly, but stacks are very, very deep for a tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. If I were the other players, I would feel pretty good about one of the more experienced players, possibly the most experienced player, getting knocked out.
Yeah. From what I've seen, Loris is the most aggressive. And then WTF is this. Those 2 guys are probably the most aggressive. They've got chips.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if one of them takes control and just starts trying to be aggressive, raising a lot, and see what they can get away with. Or is it going to be more of a stalemate type of final table where everyone's like, we'll see what happens. Just play pretty tight and straightforward.
Yeah, they definitely have some time.
Yeah.
To go back to the whole seat switching thing that happened at the beginning, I'm not a tournament player, but the more I think about it, the more it makes sense to me that Loris wants to be on the opposite side of the table as the second biggest stack, just because if he's right next to Nesservan, we're just playing more hands versus another big stack, even if it is in position.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. You just don't want to set out of position to him, like, because he had the choice, right? Loris, like, you know what? You can have position on me if you want. I'm gonna just show you how bad of a player you are. I can play you out of position now. He didn't. You never want to do that, right? Like, that's just reckless.
It's still a lot of money up top. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got to remind you, it's a $30 buy in USD, 61,000 USD up top. Everyone is now guaranteed 14,572,000 USD. So pay jumps they were already big, but these are getting really big.
We just saw Loris ripping what 20, 30 bigs.
30 big
Jack
blinds.
9 offsuit. It's aggressive.
He's aggro. I like this. Look,
We're gonna get snapped off by some better hands sometimes. Not many.
not
but,
many. It's a bit risky. I would say it's a little bit excessive. I think he could have even look. If you want to steal this pot, if you really want to steal, you could just make it like 4 big blinds, which is already huge, and you can get the same effect, right? Like, you know, like it.
The risk reward just doesn't seem there, but
you know what? Maybe his sizings are a little off here and there, but Loris, his thought process is right. Be aggressive, steal as many pots as you can. Ace deuce going for it. He doesn't care that he's no longer the triplet. He's going to regain it real soon, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if everyone else is sitting around waiting for hands, shorthanded, you kind of have to go for it. Folding the 6-5 suited. After all the other junk.
He's got bad vibes. He's got bad vibes. He's like too connected. It's too connected for him. Jack 10. I was like, this would shock me if he folds this hand. He's like, he likes the high card hands.
That makes sense. We have one shortish stack after us.
So stack raper here. King 9. He defends. Both garbage. Thoughts on c-betting?
Yeah. I mean, seems to be Loris's MO.
Yeah, it makes sense to c-bet, but it's also tricky because this is the board that technically hits the big blind more than the under the gun raiser. And King 9 just floated him. I just want to show you. Does King 9 has no connection, just backdoor. And that is the backdoor.
What are you talking about? Backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw? We have the world. We have 2 overs.
And now he's actually hit one of those. Oh my God, he hits a flush. Okay, well, he sees what you see because he just hit the backdoor flush. I guess you just value bet and hope your opponent has something. It's hard to imagine your opponent trying to represent a 5 anyways from under the gun.
Yeah, it also seems like when Loris checks back turn, he kind of has to shut. Like, I don't know. I would be pretty surprised if we now somehow have made a hand on the river.
Right, because even if Loris has a random pair, he's not going to value bet on that board. It's just a little bit too scary.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. So deuce 4 offsuits. Terrible hand.
I'm not sure what we're waiting for. Yeah.
He's confused too. He's like, yeah, I guess I got to fold. He is going to fold. All right, Peepo Stink. He's our current tournament short stack, sitting on 14 big blinds.
Limp, raise, or jam? Seems like all 3 options are open to us.
I'm not a fan of limping when you're the shortest stack. You're just inviting people to bust you for no reason. Looks like he's going to do that practical jam style. Ace 10 suited now has got the interesting spot. He's facing 14 big blind effective. Ace 10 suited it's a little...
But people
pretty
open
marginal.
5 big blinds. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Wow, he does call. Interesting. All right, so Ace Queen now in the funny spot because he's thinking, did you really just call me? Because there's only 5.6 million behind, 8.5 million to buy. People think it's a little bit confused because a lot of tournament pros, they like to raise, but like not all their stack to kind of just in case some craziness happens and they get some ICM pay jumps. Stack Raper might not be, I don't know if he's a pro or not, but whatever. He just defended Ace 10 suited on the button. So now somehow there's a tricky spot. People think checks. There's a chance he loses this pot if Stack Raper decides to just randomly bet on one of the streets. This is a bizarre hand.
Check call off if we check again and stack.
Yeah, this is tough, man.
Well, what are we beating? I don't know. We're beating Ace X and that's it. So I guess it just goes check.
As played, I expect us to go check down. They just got a strong ace highs. Makes a lot of sense. I guess Ace Queen can think about if it's worth value betting. Probably not. He's gonna go check, and I think people thinks like, interesting.
As people, do you ever just ship the flop? Do you think there's any merit to that, or just
There's
not
definitely
a
there's
board that
definitely
we don't
merit
hit?
to betting the flop. I think he was just confused because the truth is, it's very rare for him to get flatted there against that raise size.
Yeah.
But we're playing a game. We're playing a $30 tournament where other stuff happened that he's not used to. So he needs to remember that. I think he actually wasn't sure what was going on there, so he was just like check and hope it checks and see what happens. Alrighty, so Ace King actually got a worse hand to call to flop. Is there merit into betting again? No, he checks, so they're going to chop it up. What do you think about the turn, though? You think a standard check back after betting the flop?
Yeah, I think so. I think if we bet turn, we're now turning our hand to bluff some portion of the time.
Right.
I don't think that's necessary.
It's kind of like you're betting turn, like you're never going to better hand to fold, but I guess you fold at equity. Pot size bet here with the trying to look like he's got a bluff, and these guys are just min clicking each other like they've got the nuts. The 4 jacks will play and the ace in their hand. Kicker.
Calling before Loris ships it.
No, he's just gonna call and seize it. Doesn't really matter. It was never gonna get called by worse. Just waste a time bank, I suppose. Now this time bank does not refresh. Okay, so if this shot clock goes down to 0, it's a very hard tournament to play when you're playing heads up and you're not used to heads up and you're playing for a lot of money.
And it doesn't reset, not even at heads up.
No. But you got to 15 minutes is a lot of time, so you should be punished for getting down to 0. Okay, it's the truth.
Randy, you gotta understand, you're talking to a live player. Sometimes I'm on the river and I've just gotten confused and I'm taking 15 minutes trying to figure out what the hell went on.
True. I mean, and live poker is really slow. I like people you got to balance your timing tells and stuff like this, right? Like, you're gonna 3-bet these 2 aces, but you need some little bit of time before you, right? Just trying to make it look like you're on a bluff. I know how that stuff goes. Let's see, 2 jacks gonna take it down, so a little bit quiet, but Laura's still the most aggressive player I've seen.
Yeah, Loris is keeping his stack pretty healthy. I think there's a ton of merit to just picking up a bunch of the small pots. And I really, really like how he's playing posts as well. Let's seems like
this hand, though. This is interesting. A limp of queen 9 on a button with this stack size. A fan, or do you think maybe just toss it away or raise? It's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird. But versus the size, we shouldn't be folding.
Yeah, it's practically a min raise from near Savan.
Yeah.
2 5s.
One more big blind.
Yeah, he's gonna have to call this raise. You can't fold up the queen 9. And he's flop best, and the 2 5s probably thinks it's the best hand. Okay, it's 9-3-2 rainbow. The guy's got 14 big blinds. Does queen 9 just call position? It's a little bit vulnerable with the stack depth, or is it consider raising? Looks like he calls. Do you like the call, or do you think raising's better?
I mean, given how pot control APL has played so far, I assume that we kind of just stick with that. Here, things get a little dicey. I assume we just.
I guess that's the problem with just calling is there are a lot of bad cards. A pair of 9s is a very vulnerable hand, right? 10, jack, queen, king, ace. Usually, but not the queen would be bad, right?
That's true.
The 10. Man, people think he accidentally folds the best hand there. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're gonna limp the queen 9, which is a bit loose, you flop like that. I feel like if you're calling the flop, it's to kind of trap your opponent. Otherwise,
yeah. Also, just because an overcard comes doesn't mean that it actually hits our opponent. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. People's the player that's the coach for me
for
coaching.
that. Yeah,
So.
and he's actually the guy who sold 25% of his action to Ami Bear, who's got a big score already for that investment. Yeah, pretty interesting. Nersavan, I believe the 2-5s actually didn't think he was bluffing. I think he just thought he had the best hand, right? 9-3-2-10. Maybe he thought he got the best hand. Who knows? But he's getting a top pair. What once upon a time was top pair to fold. Like, beautiful play. He's like, it's just working. I think that was a mistake from people's think on one of those streets. I'm not sure which one it was, but it just didn't seem right.
Yeah, just with the ante, I know we're really short, but I don't think we should be folding queen 9. But yeah, it seems weird to limp call one street and then fold to the turn.
Yeah, I know the 10's a scary card in the sense that yes, it's an overcard, but Narasavan actually will have a lot of draws on that turn card because it's backdoor hearts. He's gonna have 2 overs, queen jack, king queen, king jack, all sorts of these things that probably would multi-barrel, right? Because it's an overcard. You got a little gut shot. I would love to see the queen 9 at least see one more card on to see a river card, but maybe. If I think I'm going to play a little bit tight on some of these vulnerable cards on a turn, raising has a lot of... Oh my God, who cares about that? Jack 10 suited just opened shit.
Wow.
WTF is this? It's got 35 big blinds. He's like, I can't believe you're just jamming into me. He's tanking a little bit because he's like...
We have 2 shorter stacks, but can we ever fold?
I personally don't think he can ever fold because people think he's got 13 big blinds. And it's not short enough. If people think maybe had like 2 or 3 big blinds guaranteed to get it in, maybe there's some ICM fold there. With this, I think you just got to go for it because you could potentially be up against ace queen and ace jack. You already seen this guy do some huge shove for 30 big blinds earlier. He might be being a little bit reckless. Loris is aggressive. You could be in a dominating position to be potentially a chip leader, right? Like, I just can't imagine folding this ace king. But what he's thinking about is there ICM merit to folding this hand? I don't think you're supposed to fold, but I could be wrong.
I mean, we have one stack with, 12 big blinds and another with 20. If we fold, we're still sitting on 32, 33. It's...
Yeah, but the thing is...
Yeah, I'm confused.
Oh, wow, I can't believe you folded the ace king. That's crazy to me. Like, really, there's some very interesting plays that's been happening.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, ace king is too strong. I think ace queen. Okay, you know what? Sigh, fold. Okay. 2 9s. Okay, sigh, fold. Okay. But like ace king is like, we dream to get ace king. Okay. It's like 100 big blinds ace king is going in for cash game players. Okay. Like 33 big blinds, it's big blind versus button against some guy who just open ripped it in.
We've also seen him open rip previously, so it's like
correct.
He's probably open ripping a fair few hands. If in the last couple of orbits we've already seen one, but
and Loris has been playing a bit aggressive too. You know what? It's probably he's like, I just don't want to be done with this tournament yet. That's the thing. $30 buy-in, huge payouts. People are gonna make some mistakes probably, right? Because
that's a very good point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They want these pay jumps. They know how important these are, and it doesn't mean they're going to play their best poker here today because they might play a little scared in some spots where they feel it's close. If it's close, they're probably going to fold, right? If you think it's like I don't know if that was close, but to him it was close because he took some time bank.
I think. Okay, and so this is like, I'm being like very results oriented, but looking at WTS results, like because he won the WSOP circuit event for 150K up top, like, and he's won a fair few other events. Maybe he wins them by just like waiting for better spots.
Okay,
so it seems crazy to suggest. But
you try to bluff 2 aces with Jack 10 offsuit on a 6-4 deuce 7. This guy's not waiting for better spots.
He didn't know double had 2 aces. Like,
oh yeah, okay, but okay.
It just seems like his
Just one
average
more
buy-in
thing.
is so much bigger. Like I don't think
He knows what he's doing, I feel like, but maybe he's just trying to live up to his name. But like he's just trying to make some crazy stuff. I don't know. But just one thing I want to mention that maybe he's thinking about. He's thinking, look, I don't think this final table is that tough. Why go in a high variance spot? Maybe there's a value in grinding them out. It's something to think about. And
absolutely.
if you're a pro, you would definitely think about this. It's kind of like this, right? You played a 10K main event WSOP. Level 1, someone said you can get in a 60-40 all in for your stack first hand of the day. Do you take it? A lot of guys would say no. What do you do? I don't know. But if you're against a table full of, you and me think the same. But there's a lot of pros that would say, no, I think this field is too soft. I don't need to risk it on this edge. But I personally will always take it because I'm more of I think of the mathematics. I think of maybe I will not get this opportunity to be a favorite in the spot, you know. But some people think differently. There's no perfect way to play poker, right? There's things to think about.
Interesting hand brewing.
Brutal river. Brutal.
I think Loris can get away from this, unfortunately. Fine. We have the worst top pair and the flush draw.
I think multiple barrels win in this one. I think it would bet.
Yeah.
He's got the nut flush blocker. Is he potentially thinking, let me just rip this in? I've got the nut flush blocker.
That's just so suicidal.
I don't. But if there's someone to do it, it's this guy, right? Like if I had to pick one of the guys at this final table, he makes the call. Wow, tough spot. I think he could have considered getting away from this though.
I think he could have too.
You don't want the backdoor hearts getting there, right? Because you know the guy who's multi-barreling the turn probably has a heart draw. They will keep betting to hit a flush. I think there's more merit in calling if it didn't run backdoor hearts. You know, at least you can pick up more hands. Now he was just picking off open-ended straight draws. Looks like the
other thing is.
1 second before you finish that, there's a second free roll. It's live. Password is APL. So get in that. There's moderators in the chat. So what did you want to say, Lynn?
I wonder if how much these players are factoring in, not just kind of like what they've seen from their opponents over the day one, but more importantly, so seeing that Nestor man is someone who I think has cashed for a few $1,000s. 1,400. I wonder if that means that when he triples off, he's just more likely to have value because this money might be more significant to him. Yeah.
Okay, so Loris is going to go for it, the 2-10s. I like this play. I think it's fine. Just shut out your opponents. But you can see that
pick up so many chips.
We can see how he's not scared, right? We've seen other guys with 2-10s. They play passively. 2 jacks, they play passively. But Loris is like, I'm plus EV. I'm just going to go for it.
I love it.
2-10.
This is fun. Ooh. Yeah.
Talk about this one. 2-10s are shoving. You're sitting on 12 big blinds in the big blind of ace deuce. What do you think? I know you see the 2-10s, but let's just say you couldn't see the cards.
I'm still just not calling ace deuce offsuit. I think we're dominated by too many better ace X.
Well, that's definitely a good thing to think about. He did not believe, and he got lucky.
Doesn't matter.
It's the ace. People stink. Well, his backer is feeling good if he can dodge this 10, and he does dodge that 10. This, I imagine, it can't be a 10. It's impossible.
It's an 8, right?
Yeah, you need 4 on the side, not 3. Okay.
Gotta feel more baccarat hands, Nano.
Yeah, I know. You need a degen a bit more. Nice hand. Ace deuce is a tough spot there, but I guess he's just thought his opponent was shoving like any 2. That would make it more of a call for sure. You definitely do need to think about how often you're dominated as well. It's annoying. Have you ever played on the GG Network client, Lynn? Because
no.
Okay, so if you're all in at risk, okay, or you're basically all in, and I think you're the underdog usually. They deal you the last card, but the card is so huge it covers a third of your table screen, and it's face down. Okay, and you can peel the card like a baccarat card. You can peel it from the side. You can peel from the bottom, the top, the corner. You can see how many pips are on there. And then you can be like, oh, it's a 50-50 sweat, or like look for the red card, black card, and all sorts of stuff. So GG built this into the client. That's why do you notice how when the river card comes out, it's quite slow. Sometimes it'll reveal really quickly because the guy doesn't care. He just clicks open the card, or the guy's actually taking his maximum time and really sweating the card out. And
I love that.
You use the mouse, so like you go from the right side of the card and you push it left, and it peels up, and then you can fold it back over. That's the thing. You don't have to just you can do all sorts of funny stuff. So like it's like a lot of Asian players play on there, and they love that feature.
Yeah.
Asian Poker League.
I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You have to try it one day.
I'll be honest, on day 2 of the main event, there like just when I was playing hands, I would like take my thumb, cover up the river card, and like slowly like move my thumb down so I got to sweat the card. So yeah, GG is perfect for me.
Yeah, can you imagine though? You're doing that, right? You're just covering a tiny little card, right, with your thumb. But then the whole table around you is reacting. They're like, "Oh my god!" Like they're just celebrating or whatever crazy stuff. Like someone got 2 outed. All right, let's see here. So it's the middle stack versus the middle. Just the second and third place guy going at it. Turns a pair of 6s. Must be nice. I think there's value in betting the 2 6s. Yeah, the hand's vulnerable to a counterfeit. Like you don't want to see a jack. Yeah, you don't want to see free equity. I throw out a min bet or something similar. Try to deny your opponent, but he's going to check. I think Queen 9 has enough showdown value. I will just keep checking. Hand makes sense so far to me. Probably value bet the 6 at this point, don't you think? It's hard to get called by
King High. Yeah,
King High might look you up for one big blind, maybe a deuce. Yeah. He has been passive though, because remember he was the guy who smooth called the 2 jacks pre-flop, so maybe it's uncharacteristic for him for try to value bet this, but he is going to win a little bit of chips there.
Yeah, so Stack Paper is one of our other players who also, this is also, I would imagine, his biggest score. His winnings amount to $467 prior to this tournament.
Yeah, so he's probably one of the less experienced players. He posted 3 of his scores on during that pregame show. Yeah, he hasn't played much here, but it's a great result so far. I like that he's making a bigger pre-flop raise size because he's potentially, I'm going to assume maybe he doesn't play as much as some of the other guys. The bigger pre-flop raise size discourages the other guys from seeing flops of you where maybe they have a slighter edge on you. So that's a good thing. You get to pick up chips uncontested.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're also on the button.
Calls of King Queen against the chip leader. Oh.
Ooh.
No. This is number 1 versus number 2 in chips right now. He checks the nuts. Oh my gosh. But obviously the King Queen's going to think even more likely he's got the best hand now. And if he gets check raised, he might.
Wow.
He turned a boat and no chips went in on the flop with these 2 hands. It's crazy. Now, if I'm Nair Savan, even if a raise comes on the river card on a blank, I'm still thinking this. Oh, that's a disaster card actually for Stack.
That's killing action.
It's killing a lot of action, but he's still going to get called, I think, to a raise. I think it's very likely.
Do you think so? I think Nestor gets away.
Nah, for 5 million
just
chips.
Kidding. Snaps it off.
He should feel good, though, after seeing the hand, because he could have lost all the chips, I think, in that hand.
Yeah, but we also flop the nuts. Like, how good do you really feel when you lose to a river raise after flopping the nuts, Nano?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, well, we were saying this guy's maybe a little bit less experienced, but he's got almost all the chips right now. He's in second place. And we've got a cooler on the bottom. 2 10s. Sees a reshove for 20 big blinds. Side called off pretty much, I guess.
We can't.
You agree?
We just can't be folding this hand. We've seen people fold some impressive hands. There was that, I think he was the one who folded queen nine. He also folded eights really early on, but I think that's because he timed out.
But he thinks this Brazilian guy's crazy because you gotta remember he called on ace deuce, big blind versus small blind. I think he should find a call here. I think he dominates too many hands. He's one of the shortest stacks. He's up against 2 9s a lot, 2 8s a lot, I think, don't you? And he's beating a coin flip, right? He's a slight edge against ace queens, ace kings. You can't fold 2
We do
tens.
have one stack that's shorter than us. I don't know. I've seen some ridiculous folds today. We're folding ace king out here. It's a whole different game.
This is making me hurt right now. I've seen ace king fold. I've seen 2 10s probably wanting to fold. He's in the tank. This is one of the more aggressive players, though. He folds the 2 10s. Oh, well, he wasn't a coin flip, so maybe he would have busted. But that is a big fold. Now, is he going to fold 2 7s here? I don't know if he will, because it's going to be a raise from stack here. Ace king suited. So basically,
how I play poker. That's for sure.
Yeah, this is it's a different game. The tournament poker is very different. Big fields makes it very different too. Ace king suited is going for the raise. Your expectation for 2 7s, you got to go before he acts. What is it?
Call. I don't see any for how passive we played this entire tournament. I don't see much merit to ripping it in with sevens. Okay,
no,
great.
We're folding. It's all right. We're gonna get
to the end.
We fold the heads up and then we play. But I like that fold more than the previous fold. I'm not saying he should have folded 2 7s, but the 2 10s feels dirty.
Versus a UTG Open, fine. Like the sevens, I can understand, but big blind versus small blind, like.
Well, in our pregame interview, we did have one for Peepo Stink. He did say he studied some ICM spots. Maybe that is the right fold. I don't know. It could be. Maybe those 2 10s are right fold. Maybe those 2 7s are right fold. But I don't know if he studied well or not. That's a different question. But he did study.
Yeah.
So we'll give him that.
No, but a point you brought up earlier is that if you think you have an edge on the field, it makes sense to potentially fold some spots that
that's more important though if you got a bigger stack. With 20 big blinds, look, you still have edge, but you don't have as much room to play, because if the blinds go up, you're down to 15 big blinds, you fold a couple of blinds because you've just been getting card dead, you're gonna have 12 big blinds. Look, then you ever had those spots where you fold a tight spot, right? I don't know. Well, you don't play many tournaments, but a lot of guys, right? In the tournament, they fold a tight spot, and then they eventually bust some other way, and they're like, "Man, I should have took that spot." That regret.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, that's literally the story of my life. Like, I don't even need to be playing tournaments to feel that. When I was on high stakes poker, my last hand, I managed to rejam over a back raise with queen 10 suited, all because I was feeling FOMO from 2 hours ago for not cold 4-betting Dwan. So
don't tell us the result. Don't tell us the results of the hand in case it hasn't been aired yet. But I know what you're saying. Look at this: 10-9 jamming, ace deuce snap calls him because he's like, "Yeah, I know you're jamming random cards." He can hit.
There we go.
He could hit, and he does.
Wow.
So our most aggressive player goes aggressive, plays by his book, 10-9 offsuit, beats the ace deuce, pay jumps for everyone. And that is a 6th place finisher for our UK player. Cashes for 94,000 CNY, which is 14,500 USD. Everyone just got a 5K USD pay jump. And now we got this cooler here. 2 6s and 2 kings, small blind versus big blind. I think this is a cooler. I feel like the 2 6s is just going to open jam.
Maybe. You think people can fold kings?
He's not going to fold kings. He's not that. Oh my God! Well, 2 6s can get away. Queen 3 suited jamming.
I mean,
kings.
6s are just out at this point.
Yep. Nice spot for
spades. I guess, is what we're rooting for.
He's in
Maybe
bad
another
shape.
spade.
Oh, 2 6s, by the way, would have won the pot. Just throwing it out there. Results oriented thinking. Wow. And he gave him, that's a thank you emoji, okay? That's bad manner because after just stacking some guy.
But that's a gift. Nano, you should say thank you for gifts. What manners were you raised with? My goodness.
That is Lunar New Year red packet. Chinese New Year. Thank you for the 20 big blinds. Wow. That was an excessive
Those 20 big
raise.
blinds are worth something too. Huh?
Worth a lot of chips right now. Everyone is guaranteed 19,400 USD. He could have used those 20 big blinds to do a lot of raises. Now, they probably would fold a lot of blinds, but I just feel like Loris can get away with smaller raises and still puts a lot of pressure.
Yeah. With that said, though, Loris has just picked up a lot of chips in spots that he probably shouldn't be by open jamming or by jamming over opens. So it's crazy to see that even after losing that pot, he's still sitting there with 26,000.
Wow. I've never seen this dealt in my life. 3 king queen offsuits and ace king.
Yeah, how does this play out?
Well, I mean, I think Peepo is going to 3-bet and then everyone's just going to muck, probably. Pretty funny though. It's like 3-bet. Maybe WTF sees a flop. I think the other two guys can easily get away. Yeah. Curious. I think WTF though thinks Peepo has been pretty solid, so it'd be kind of seems a little spicy to go with king queen.
I mean, Peepo's shown down one hand and it's kings, Nano. So yeah, I think king queen of the offsuit variety. We're out of position. It's not a small raise.
I would like to see him just go. Hey, look, if you're looking for better spots of ace king, you fold that. I think you can find a better spot than here of king queen and ace king, unless he just feels good that he got enough money from the pay jumps already. But I would really like to see him just lay this one down.
Yeah, we also just have a ticking time bomb to our right, who just seems determined to blast off to what's remaining of his stack. So
it's definitely blasting off. King queen in the tank using that shot clock. Let's see. It's thinking. It's really thinking. I just think king queen even doesn't play that well.
No, it really doesn't.
It's hard to be at least suited. But yeah, he's out. I like it. Now, I wanted to say one thing. Let's see if they get dealt anything here. They don't. You mentioned one thing that I think was very important is the risk-reward ratio, right? So, yeah, he's jamming. He's probably going to take it down a lot. But Loris, he's been making some excessive shoves, right? Like small blind versus big blind. He jammed, I don't know, jack 9 offsuit for 30 big blinds, but he could have just raised, I don't know, 3-4 big blinds. This last spot, he jammed the queen 3 suited. Not a good hand. Into a 20 big blind effective stack. And a guy with, I think, even more than that, but a little bit more than that. So, you got to think about the risk reward ratio. It's not like, oh, how can I get the maximum fold equity? Because like, yeah, if you pick up 2 big blinds, great. But if you're risking, I don't know, 25, 30 big blinds, they're not going to work out so much. Look, he's just jamming ace 10. But this one I like a bit more because, you got a real hand. But still, I think maybe just raising ace 10 is okay too, than just open jamming 30 big blinds.
That's true. But when we're picking up 2 to 3 big blinds left and right, including just like the ante in the middle, if we lose, yeah, exactly. Like we can afford to then lose 10, 15, 20 big blinds when we actually like run into a real hand.
Peepo, look at this ace 3 offsuit, 3-betting the big blinds. Very, very, this looks strong. Because not only is he 3-betting from king queen suited to fold, it looks strong. It's a beautiful play. That's definitely a pro play right there. A lot of guys like to use the ace rags because they don't play well post flop, but they got the ace blocker. They unblock with the 3, so like they don't expect their opponent to have 10. Like they're not blocking the hands they want to fold. Beautiful play. Alrighty, so we got some got an interesting king jack suited. I'm curious to see how he plays because usually he's been the one open jamming, but now will he reshove king jack suited?
We've seen reshove twice now. Yeah.
He is. Wow, it's a big reshove. But the thing is, it's almost like this. It's going to work, I think.
Should work.
But he has got 32 big blinds, but when he sees 32 big blinds, you know what he does? He sees half his stack. So he's like, when I have 32 big blinds, I have 16 big blinds. And now he's playing the ranges that would make sense to the shoving these sizes, right? So he's got queen 3 suited on the button. He's like, oh, I'm only risking like 10 big blinds, when actually he's shoving like 30 big blinds. Like, maybe that's how he thinks.
Do you think there's any chances on tilt, or do you think this is just his real strategy?
There's definitely a chance, but there's a chance. But the thing is, he hasn't been playing consistent throughout the final table.
That's true.
It's kind of hard to say.
But you're supposed to adjust when you get shorter, right? Like, you can't just blast off at every stack down.
Maybe this guy's from China. Maybe he just got a bunch of red packets, recently. And it's like, you know what? I'm free rolling this tournament anyways. Let's just go for it. I don't know. But something's going with this guy. He's very aggressive. Okay, 2 pairs for 10-6. Pipo's seems like the most solid guy of the remaining 5, if I would like to say.
If by most solid, you mean nittiest, I would definitely agree with you.
But what do you think about this? Yeah, this river is pretty brutal, huh? It's a boat for 10-6 and trip 10s for Nair Savan, our chip leader. We know Pipo's probably going to bet. Do you ever raise with the 10-9, I guess is the question.
I don't think so, because once again, it's just like, we don't have the best 10. What are we really getting to call? Like, we're targeting King X.
Right, and do they call you if King X is? I guess that's the question, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the right play for sure. He's going to get coolered. Yeah, I agree with you.
I just hate seeing
what?
I'm sorry, I hate
the tighter
seeing
player
get rewarded.
Getting lucky.
This is absurd. It's just unfair. We're just holding the best hand left and right, and we just keep getting gifted made hands.
Okay. So Pipo, he was real short, right? At one point, he's made some very tight folds, but look, he's got 40 million in chips. He should be one of the more experienced players at this table, but he's got a different game plan. But he's been rewarded. Sometimes you don't got to be the best player to win. You know that it's tournament poker.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So check on the flop. Now, our guy from Germany, Stack here on the top, he hasn't been very aggressive.
No, he hasn't.
I think he's kind of a newer player. He didn't have many earnings based on his final table. So I would love to see him actually bet by now, but it doesn't seem like he will. But I think a lot of pros would probably bet by this river card.
He seems to be playing very straightforwardly. Yeah. But that's definitely one of the worst hands we show up with.
He wants to play. He's playing what he's comfortable with, and it would make sense because the pay jumps are big. But is it optimal play? Probably not. But that's the approach. If he's getting pay jumps and he's seeing people just jamming and stacking off, I guess it's kind of hard to get involved. You're like, well, if I wait around a little bit longer, I get another $6,500 because someone wants to play Queen 3 suited crazily.
Give Loris and WTF another hour, and maybe they can dust off a few more chips. So WTF's the shortest stack, but he's got a good stack still, 25 big blinds or so, right? Loris has got 10 more big blinds and 12 more big blinds than him. But who's more likely to bust first, in your opinion? Oh, Loris. WTF is making moves, but not at the frequency that Loris is getting after it. Yeah. I would really like to see Loris adjust. So just playing slightly tighter. And then also just a bit more linear. I think that would.
I think his aggressive game plan is correct. Okay, well, don't worry about that. Jack 9, he loves the Jack 9, Jack 10s on boards with no connection. People think is getting gifted chips left and right.
He has a backdoor straight draw. Look, he's practically got a wrap around the 10.
Yeah. Oh, he hits a 9.
Hopefully now he just checks.
I would check and just see what happens. I want to talk about the two queens, though. Do you like the call on a flop, or do you think it's better to just re-raise the flop?
No, especially versus WTF, I really like the call because if they're capable of making moves, we don't really want to deny them the opportunity to continue bluffing on future streets.
What about this turn? Do you like the call there, or do you think jamming was better?
That was a pretty small size, huh?
Yeah, I'd be tempted to just raise, even though it was the right play to just call. I mean, in this sense, well, I don't know if it's the right play, but
what does WTF do now, though? Do you think WTF ever turns his hand to a bluff? You don't think ever? He might,
because he's from Brazil and he's been playing crazy. But I think he should check fold. But the queen, sometimes he knows the 9 is not good. I actually think he doesn't think it's good.
I think he knows the 9's not good. Yeah.
He sees the queen as like, maybe there's a chance I represent it, but he's just going to check. Yeah. I was a little worried for him on the queen because like it's an overcard to the 10, right? Which he can probably get some 10s to fold actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's just like, I know you said he's playing solid, but he's crazy. He's like he's a post flop crazy, whereas Loris is a pre flop crazy. It's two different types.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
I like this. I like this value.
Me too.
The sizing's perfect because if my opponent had a strong hand, well, he would have just kept shoving the river himself. Seems like he's got a 10. You got to bet small, hope and crying call, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Or
the spaz.
Maybe the spaz, yeah. Same that.
I mean, what is this, like 12% or something? Some small bet. I don't know. It's just some tiny bet right now. I think he should be able to get away from this. I guess sometimes when you make some aggressive plays, you're just like trying to find hands you beat. But like, there's no. If there was a flush draw out there, you can make some excuses. But really, what does he beat? I can't name a hand. This is also people think who's been playing pretty tight solid, right?
That's true. Yeah. Right, because we check raise them on the flop and then we bet the turn, and I struggle to come up with hands that are.
Yeah. I don't think like ace 3 and ace 4 are calling my turn bet. You know, like they might call a flop check raise, but the turn probably not. And if they're bluffing, are they going to bet 3.6 million into 20 million? Like they probably would jam all in.
Yeah. But then it just feels like we almost have to call because we're just getting laid such a sick price.
Yeah, the odds are great. I'm not going to doubt that, right? Is he ever bluffing is the question you got to ask. You got to find one hand you beat. If you can't find one hand you beat, you can't call.
I'm beating 3-4.
3-4 raising under gun. Yeah, 3-4 raising under gun.
People decide to take a page out of Loris's book. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only hand, though. It really would be the only hand. But even these positions, it's very, very tough. Even with his bet size on the river, very, very tough to have 3-4.
Yeah, absolutely.
He does make the crying call. The bet size was perfect. We said it. He knew his opponent was weak. Sometimes the odds are too good, but it's not right. So we're on another break here. 5 people remaining. Be sure to watch the little ads in the 5-minute break. You might find yourself an opportunity. See you soon.
The GGPoker Wildcard Camp.
Welcome in once again to the GGPoker Wildcard Camp, taking a look at some classic hands on GG featuring some of the game's very best. All right, Brent, this time on the Wildcard Camp, we go to the World Series of Poker main event. You familiar with the name Fedor Holtz?
I think I've heard of him, and I'm also familiar with the one and only Randy Lou. He is.
It's not. That's not Nanonoko.
Yeah.
It's just, no, it's not. It's not him. That is Olashemian, though. This is Fabian Quas in the small blind, and it's Fedor in the big blind. So we're playing with 2222-999, who does have queens, and we're trying to guess Fedor's hand. So really, best of luck to all of us, because who knows with Fedor.
How is there a 9 and a 2 on the flop? This guy's name is 2222-999. That's way too many 9s and 2s. I pay attention to details, Chef.
That much is very clear. Fabian checks, Fedor checks, over to our guy with the queens. All right, let's start thinking. What could Fedor have? Does he have a pair of 9s? Does he have the gut shot? Does he have the set of 5s? Does he have pocket 3s?
Normally, I think that Fedor would have nothing but a disgusting bluff with little to no equity, but this time, just this time, I think Fedor flopped middle set. I think he's trapping.
We can't have a queen, right? If our guy has 2 of them, that's what they call blockers, Brent. Whew. Poker analysis is top notch. Although there is a queen on the river. Give me pocket 3s. Give me pocket 3s for Fedor, I think. Yeah, pocket 3s.
It's for sure got a set of 5s here, and this is a disaster of a river for the young prince.
Nope, he's going to be able to get away from the 3s very easily.
I don't think so.
Yep.
I don't think so. You should play for max value. Set of 5s, Jeff. Watch and learn. Watch and learn.
What a
Look at
sick
this.
bluff. Goes 3x pot with just a pair of 3s, Brent.
Who does that? Who goes 3x pot? Well, Fedor Holtz does. And why? Because he has a set of 5s.
Because it's a crazy, maniacal bluff. It's 3s.
Elkie was waiting to come back to the final table.
Fedor Holtz things. Oh my God.
Michael Adamo is the best. What's up, everyone? We are back from another break now. If you are watching the break, the wildcard cam, be sure to put your username in the comments or the chat, and also your selection. Now, you can't enter twice, otherwise you're DQ'd. So if you watched it before and you enter, don't enter again. Otherwise, you're disqualifying yourself. So make sure you do follow the YouTube channel, GGPoker. And let's enjoy this final 5. It's been pretty crazy. I think me and Lynne's been stumped in some of the decisions that they've been making. Some have been tighter, some have been crazy aggressive plays, but we are back. But one guy's got 7 big blinds now.
Nano, so Loris was your pick from the beginning.
Chip leaders. He's crazy though.
Yeah. What about now? Who's your pick to take this down? Still sticking with Loris?
I think Loris he had a 5-minute break. He's gonna think about it. He's gonna get one lucky double up. He's gonna jam like the 10-9 suited into like the 2 jacks and flop a straight flush or something. Who knows? But I think he's got a chance. But based on what I've seen, okay, this is my rundown of the final 5 players. Loris obviously pre-flop aggressive, but he does seem like he knows what he's doing. He just high variance, like really excessive on what he does, right? WTF is this? He's very aggressive, but he's a pretty experienced player, but just like he's kind of overdoing in some spots, I feel a little bit, but you know, just how it is. Sometimes it works. You look like a genius. When it works, it looks like a genius. When you don't work, you look like an idiot, but it is how it is. People think's really solid though. Like, yeah, I feel like people think is guaranteed to get like top 3 or top 2 at this point. And the other two guys at the top, I think they're the less experienced players, but you know what I like about what they're doing is they're not being reckless and just wasting. They're letting other people boss. They're maintaining their stack or chipping up slowly, and I think that's okay if you're a less experienced player. 2 5s, 2 3s. It's an 8.5 big blind shove. I think just try to finish this guy off. He makes the call. I think on this flop, they're definitely going to get it in anyways. So WTF is this is going to need a 3. And there's only 2 3s remaining in the deck.
Could you see this just getting checked down?
Nah.
Too many overcards to protect against.
Exactly. Well, he needs one more shot or he's going to be the 5th place guy. And he's not. So one of our more experienced players is gone. He was very aggressive post-flop. He got 5th place. 125,000 yuan, which is 19,432,000 USD. It's a lot of money. But now everyone got a 6.5K pay jump, guaranteed 26,000. And now it's a 9K pay jump, so they're getting bigger and bigger. And I kind of like seeing the less experienced players doing well, right? Like we got a nice little mix with the final 4 right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a fun hand.
Yes, set of 3.
Top pair, 10s.
Yep. A bigger bet coming out here. A little bit, well, not bigger, but half pot. 2 10s. Ooh, it's tricky. It's real tricky.
10s without a club. Yeah, we should get to fold a lot.
Now ace deuce obviously not folding. Look, ace deuce just turned trip aces, and knowing this guy, he can get in a queen 3 suited for a lot of big blinds and jack 10 and stuff like this. I don't know if he can fold ace deuce. This is tough. This is
not
bad.
for another bet, anyways.
Yeah, he's definitely going to call off more. I think people thinks putting his opponent either on a club draw or an ace.
Yeah.
So I like the smaller bet size because if you bet too big, the club draw will fold and they're drawing dead, and the ace will come along anyways. Seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, and we're still setting up a jam on the river if we decide we want to go with that size. Wow, that's really good.
King, perfect card. So we know a bet or jam is coming for the 2 3s. What about ace deuce here? What's your thoughts? Sucks.
Really just depends what we think on Peepo. Yeah, I don't know. Like, we're just putting them on a better ace. Like,
well, the ace doesn't. His kicker does not play, and there's a lot of better kickers. Even ace 7 is.
We don't have clubs. 5-4 missed. 5-4
so one of the questions I would be asking is my opponent. Well, he does call a nice play for Peepo. People think is going to ship this tournament, like the one that you're like, man, this nit is getting paid off, but he's got 86 million. We lose Loris. Yes, I said it. Maybe he's going to still get it done, but not anymore, obviously. People's got the chip lead. Now, I think with the chip lead and his experience against 2 lesser experienced opponents, he's going to play differently. That's my expectation.
Yeah, I would expect to see him open up a bit. But yeah, Nano, I'm changing my tune. Tide is right. Everyone knows that.
Tide is right. And I think the 2 guys on top are playing a little bit tighter in general anyways. And you can see People's now he's being aggressive. He knows these guys are trying to get some little pay jumps here and there, right? They've gotten a huge amounts of pay jumps. We got hats off to our once upon a time chip leader. He was out. He got 4th place for 26,000. Everyone just got a 9K pay jump, guaranteed 34,500. If they survive one more player, it's 11K pay jump for 46,000 USD total. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And then they get a 15K pay jump. So 3 bet and a call. Now, we're pretty deep for 3-handed for a tournament, right? Like the shortest deck has 45 big blinds. So a lot of play. 3 bet check. Interesting. So I guess with the ace 10, he's like, it's not strong enough kicker where I'm looking to get all the chips. And he baited the 6-5 into bluff. And now seems a little bit uncharacteristic of this player, right? But maybe he's like top 3. Time to open up. This is aggressive. Very, very
There's a lot
aggressive.
of chips in the middle. And sometimes when I see my opponent check and I think that pot, I just assume they're giving up with air. So
Okay, wow.
found some equity.
This is
I know, but both players actually pick up something, right? Because People's Thing actually picks up a straight draw now. They both hit a
Wow, we
straight.
get there.
They both hit a straight, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, the 6-5
How do the
is
chips get in?
weak chip.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good when there's a one-liner on the board.
I think People is probably
So-
going to go for a value bet. Just hope his opponent has it, and it looks like
Yeah.
it should be called here. Big pot for People's Thing. It's got. Look at all those chips. Look at all those chips, Lynn. It's like 111
Yeah, I
million
know.
to 45
Yeah.
versus 27 million.
Yeah.
You seem a little disappointed. You're like,
I
man.
am a little disappointed. I'm questioning everything about life right now. This is just
you know
this is
why
not
he's
why I
doing
play
good.
poker.
He's doing good
Why
because
is he
he's the
doing
only
good?
one who submitted. He was the only one who responded to our interview questions. Okay, I'm pretty
Yes.
sure we sent those interview questions to everyone, but only he responded. You know what? So, he's got the good vibes. He's a coach. I imagine he's making content now with this performance so far. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit tight in these spots.
Yeah.
The tide is right. So next time your high stakes poker show is about to end. You got the queen 10 or what suited or whatever you said you had. Maybe you should just fold it. Like learn. Just think.
I consider
think of
it.
People's Thing. Think of People's Thing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Think about what can happen.
Just wait 1 second. Let me write that down. Just think of people's think. Just fold.
Well, you see that's the flop with queen 5 offsuit. Turns a backdoor club. Actually got called correctly. The ace-9 calls correctly on this kind of a funny texture
Yeah,
multi-way.
But what are we even looking for when we call with ace-9? Like, we don't have clubs. I mean,
Oh my god, this guy is running hot. He's running hot. Queen 5 offsuit gets there. I think the 5 of clubs is too weak to value bet personally. So he's going to check.
me
But my
too.
god,
No.
it's disgusting right now. This is just.
It feels like it's just a matter of time at this point. Oh, yeah.
Well, they are 3-handed, so if they're not going to win it, you do want to outlast your opponent while you can, if you can.
Yeah. He is a really good spot here too, with just having Nessir sandwiched between Peepo and Stink and Stack, because Nessir obviously wants to outlast.
They're checking so fast, and then the ace 10's got trip 10s. He actually let his opponent get a whole free range of cards, so didn't get a single bet in.
Yeah, Peepo definitely has like just the spot that he was looking for in terms of like he has probably the two least experienced players coming into this final table. Now 3-handed.
Okay, there's a jam here. 2 10s is going to call, so we might be going into heads up. It's a coin flip, ace jack and 2 10s, and we need an ace or jack to knock out this guy from Germany. It is going to be a save card. What is it? Sweat it out. Ace on the river card. And we lose another player. With these deep stacks, we already lost another player since this break. 3rd place finish for Stack. He gets 223,000 yuan, which is $34,556. That is a beautiful run for one of our guys who doesn't have many earnings to his name. Like, he put in $30 and got 34,556. Impressive. He played his game. Sure, he made some different moves than other pros would do, but he got a big score, and we got to give him congratulations to him. But now we're heads up. Nurser Van drilled that ace on the river. 2-1 chip lead for People's Think. He's feeling good. And aces, okay, I just saw the limp. That's pretty cool. 2-1 chip lead. They're playing for a 15,000 USD difference right now. So it's a lot of money. It's a big heads-up match. I'm going to have to say People's Think not only has a chip edge, but he's got the skill edge, I imagine. I don't feel like Nurser Van plays heads-up too much, plays as many tournaments, but he's hanging in there.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what Nesser's strategy turns out to be. But
yeah. So what I think is a lot of guys, the guys who are like trying to outladder each other, they're less experienced, right? That's what they do.
But when there's only one other guy at the table, something clicks in your head and where you're like, well, I just need to beat one. I can't outlast anyone anymore. I just got to beat them. So they get a little bit crazier in here and there because why not?
Yeah. Anything can happen, given that it's heads up, but it is going to be hard to overcome the skill edge.
And there's definitely a skill edge, especially because we're playing 63 big blind effective right now. That's a lot for heads up. So it's a lot of blinds in play, actually. So I'm curious to see the approach that people think takes. Is he going to go for a little more grindy style or more aggressive? It'll be interesting, but let's go check call. You got a couple clubs here. Probably going to call again. Drills. Oh, are you surprised? Like every time I look at you, Lynne, and I see this guy hit some card, you're just like, tide is right.
It's unreal. Gotta root for the underdog, but I think we're gonna have to see Nestor make some moves. Kind of like you said, there's only one player left, so if there was ever a time to go for it, now would be it.
Yeah. So, it is still the beginning of heads up, so maybe you can feel things out a bit. In general, one of the mistakes a guy who's inexperienced would play is not playing enough hands, both from the small blind and the big blind. Yeah. But so far, he seems okay. Queen 6 is definitely a defend and heads up, whereas in a ring game probably wouldn't be. So, we'll watch how he plays and see how he's going to be able to hang. I like the call on the flop, too. Definitely the right play. But interesting bet from the Queen 3 on the turn, but actually got the same hand to fold practically.
No. I think we're going to have to see Nestor start bluffing and making some moves.
Now, a lot of pros like to say, I think we'll see what you got to think about is if you're a less experienced player, you're up against a more experienced player. One of the general things they recommend is upping your sizing, right? Like pre-flop raising instead of min-raising, maybe make it 2.5x, 3x, shrink that pot to stack ratio, go for bigger bets post-flop in. Do you agree with that, or do you think that's kind of a
absolutely
idea?
Yeah, if I know I'm just playing against a player where like over time and in the long run I'm just going to be losing versus I kind of need to have variance on my side, and I almost kind of need to like gamble to a win. But with just a lucky run of cards, maybe Nestor can make something happen.
He's gonna bet the 2 jacks. I think he's gonna get called by the ace 4 on this flop.
I think so too. Yeah.
But I think people think he's thinking about check raising. It seems I can't imagine him ever folding.
No, I don't think he can fold.
He is going to make the call. Turns an 8. I'll just keep value betting with 2 jacks. But
yeah, we really. Yeah. I don't like that right? Back. Yeah. It looks like there's draws we can charge.
Right.
I can see why the 8's scary.
The 6-5, the 6-9, the 8-9s. These types of one pair combo draws are just naked straight draws. Yeah. It just seems you need a value bet more thinly in heads up, right?
Yeah. To be fair though, Nestor just went for a value bet, I think, with second pair when he had a jack and Pipo had a king, and that didn't go so well for him.
I'm not surprised he hit a flush on the turn. Just saying. Not surprised. I want to see the river card. Unreal. I think it's 6 of diamonds. Like just the way this guy's been running so far.
Yeah, the next time I play poker, I want to run the way Pipo's been running. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. I want to remind you, Pipo Stink sold 25% of his action in this $30 tournament. Okay. I don't know why he did, but he did. The guy who bought the action, Ami Bearer, okay, he's guaranteed 25% of 46,000 right now. Likely at the pace it's going right now, he's guaranteed $15,000 if he does win it, right? Like that's such a sick investment. Which is funny I say that because Ami Bear actually staked some guy who won one of our 10K Super Millions, so he got like 100K. Like he just seems to stake the right people on GG.
The rich get richer. What can I say?
The 6s, it was 40 big blind reach shove, but I do like it. I feel like your opponent's raising a lot anyways. Just ramp up the variance, like he has it, he has it, and
I want to see him push his equity in spots like this, where when we hit the Queen of Hearts, I don't want to see a snap check back.
Yeah, he's got a big draw.
More than that, we're also just giving off timing tells. If we're snap checking back, like, I don't know, air or value, I think that's something people.
I just want to tell you, Nersevan doesn't have timing tells. Do you know why he doesn't? Because
he says everything immediately.
No, look at. He has 14 minutes and 39 seconds of shot clock. He started with 15 minutes. He only used 21 seconds of shot clock. I mean, and he got called. Nice value bet there. Yeah, he plays super fast. Like, look at the other guy. He's used like 7 minutes of time bank, half his time bank. The other guy's used 21 seconds. Two different players.
Yeah, to be fair, People's been put in some tough spots. Yeah, so it's justified. How many seconds do they get before their shot clock starts running, Nano?
I believe it's 5 seconds.
Okay. Got it.
Could be longer. I'm not sure. But 5 seconds would make a lot of sense because you have so much time bank. I mean, you can try doing the 1/1000, 2/1000. It does seem like about 5 seconds, so. These guys are just having a Chinese conversation. Can you read Chinese or no?
Not enough. Yeah, not nearly enough to make any of this out.
Oh my God. Did he just flop the nuts with the straw?
Yeah.
Feel more sad, okay? Well, bottom pair makes the call. I'm just surprised the guy didn't turn like a king or 4 to go with this hand.
Me too. Yeah. Nice.
Those are the emojis. It's just beautiful. They're done really well.
Yeah, Nestor's playing solid too.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing like I think he's playing just fine. The other guy's just getting hit with the deck right now.
Yeah, it's kind of unreal.
He plays so fast. It's so fast. His opponent did get 2 bets in, so this is a pretty quick heads up match so far. They are playing for 15K US. I think people think is really loving his spot right now. I think he feels like he can outgrind his opponent. Oh, but
this might be a hand.
Time to get him back, right? He's got 2 kings. He limps. He's trying to lay the trap. Ace queen raises. Let's limp re-raise him now. There is the big limp re-raise, but ace queen's not folding. Huge. He's not folding, is he?
Yeah, but ace queen might just be. I mean, I think I would just be calling with ace queen a lot. We are out of position.
There's not too much stack to play for behind, so I think he's thinking about jamming or folding. He's wondering, did he really get tarped by 2 aces or 2 kings? He's got the ace blocker. Oh my God.
Yeah, having an ace makes it a lot less likely.
Oh, he folds correctly. Sometimes, Lynne,
that's impressive.
What am I going to say? I'm going to say tight is right. Tight is right.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah.
The funny thing is, if Nersevan had raised pre-flop, people think probably would have got it in. His hand changes so differently when it goes limp re-raise versus raise, call, or I don't know, who knows.
Yeah, 2.4, 10 million all in.
Yeah, or maybe ace queen calls call, they see a flop. Probably would have. This could have been a different hand, but like I was a little bit excited for you because I was thinking Nersevan's gonna get a double, he's gonna have the chip lead, and now we're like nothing's changed.
I just want to, I want to see it get competitive. Yeah.
Shows him the top.
Have you played a lot of heads up in your day?
I've played a lot of heads up. I've watched a lot of heads up, of course. And obviously a lot of people have seen Doug Polk and Negreanu. Maybe these guys probably didn't watch it because they're not playing like them at all. You know, like they're playing a different game. But definitely experienced in it. I don't know if you probably don't, right? Because you play at a live casino.
Um, at one point in time, I was just like challenging anyone and everyone heads up, especially at the end of a losing session. Somehow strung together a few winning sessions, so I was feeling really good about myself.
So is it like at the
these
end of the
days,
session when like things are wrapping up? You're like, you guys want to keep?
Yes.
I want to keep playing.
Yes. Yeah, that was me. Everyone thought I was the biggest whale, so usually got one biter. And my strategy, honestly, was just to out try the other person. Like I just sat there and tried my best to win every single hand.
So you're playing a different game than these guys. They're not trying to win every hand. They're just trying to win the important ones, right? These guys are just showing each other cards. But yeah. No, I was gonna say because it's not like you just got to the bike or whatever. It's a full ring 9-handed table. You're like, anyone want to play heads up? We'll just play on a different table. No, it's like when you guys are up at 5 a.m. Everyone's left with 3 guys. One of us is stuck, and we want to get even. Who wants to battle with me?
Yeah.
All right, there. Nice fluff. He got the 9 to fold there just now. People think he's playing his heads up pretty good though. I am liking that against this opponent. Like he's not taking unnecessary spots. I feel like. So look at this. I like that. Queen 7 suit. He's like, all right, time to make some moves. I'm getting a little too short. Got the ace 8 to fold.
Nano, I'm gonna leave you for 30 seconds. The sun has just risen here in Las Vegas.
You're like shining.
I need to close my blinds. I know.
Like they're just like.
Just give me one moment.
You're just shining, an angel.
I'm just a ray of sunshine. It's my bubbly personality.
Yeah, I'm like trying to watch the whole cards, and now I have to stare at your webcam, just twinkling all over the place.
I was jealous of the GG emojis. Wanted to make my own.
Yeah.
Okay,
all right, here. We'll come back. All right, let's see. Is this going to be a bet and a call? This is a monotone board. People still betting. Yeah, gets called by the queen high and gets rivers the queen. All right. These guys are getting a little more reckless lately. I like it.
Yeah. Gonna stick with what I said. I think he has to, especially if he knows that he's coming in with a skill disadvantage.
There we go. Outflop the ace 10. Time for a little bit of run good.
Look, there's still 2 cards left to go.
Yeah, I know. My other commentator says I celebrate too early when I haven't even seen any flops or turns or rivers, like but I'm like, yeah, that guy's gonna go out next, and he rivers the jack like one of those other guys. Ace 10 here is normally you probably would call, but against this guy I would fold as the way it's been playing so far.
I mean, also we don't have a backdoor flush draw. We don't have much of anything. We have 2 overs.
Yeah, I think people's things read right now on Nersavan, he's not playing crazy. So this is actually a good time for Nersavan to kind of ramp it up a little bit because he's not expected to make some moves, and he has been.
Yeah,
he did 3-bet that Queen 7 suited, and he made some aggressive plays, and it's working.
He's definitely keeping it close and competitive, which is what I like to see. Have we been seeing people limp a lot of hands? It seems like he's done I feel like we've seen him raise most hands.
Yeah, in general, he's been raising most hands pre-flop, and Nersavan has been doing a bit of a mixture.
Mm-hmm.
But 3-bets is not really a thing in this match.
Yeah. The only hands I recall seeing Nersavan limp are kings and aces. I don't know if aces went to showdown.
Well, he did limp 8-7 offsuit earlier and called a raise, so he is throwing some garbage too.
Yeah, I think it's really important to not give off anything.
Let's flop top pairs. See if he goes for a check raise. I think he will. Nice.
You gotta punish those guys min betting, right? They're trying to get the
I like
minimum
that.
bluff price in there. Just don't let them get away
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pipo's got 6-4. Now he's going aggressive. Gets it done. Now, Nerseven playing from Turkey, okay. $1,461 in GG Poker winnings. We posted 2 of his scores. He played a $10 turbo and got $294, and he played a $20 hyper and got $414. Those are his 2 scores that we posted for him, besides his even smaller min cashes. His largest cash by far was already when he was in 9, when there was 9 people remaining. Obviously huge. This is very huge for him. But he's up against the experienced player people think who's studied the ICM, but now ICM doesn't matter. When your heads up is just one guy, there is no ICM anymore.
Wow. People flops top pair. Surprise, surprise. Look at that, making a hand again.
I'm surprised he went tricky, actually. He checked the flop. Now he's actually let his opponent realize all his equity with the ace-8 for free.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, gotta call this. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, guys, one more free roll. We want to tell you the last free roll of today. The password is champion, capital C. Get in that, win that free money. Maybe you can enter this tournament next time if you happen to win that free roll.
How did you get started in poker?
Me? University. Yeah, just home games. It's a classic story. I'm a natural degen, like, oh, I can win some money, like playing some tiny games. But yeah, no, I like games in general because I used to play a lot of video games. So a game that makes money and is competitive seems like a smart transition to me, you know what I mean? And this could be, I was gonna say could be interesting, but it's still interesting. Flush draw versus the 2-9. I know your question is win. When is he going to hit it? He does not, but he might still win it with this big bet. Does.
Yeah.
No, if I recall correctly, you told me you started playing when 2017. Is that right?
Yeah, a few years ago. I actually played League of Legends beforehand too, and I had a very brief stint where I worked in esports.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I realized. Yeah, I didn't actually. First off, I was just terrible at video games, and secondly, I couldn't really earn money at it. So, yeah, poker was very appealing.
You were a fun player in League of Legends. You weren't a competitive player. Is that what I'm understanding?
I wanted to be competitive, but
one doesn't
I needed
work.
My ass carried. Yeah.
In League of Legends, you got to have the skill set because if your hands don't move properly, they never will, right? But in poker. It's a turn-based game. We can study your ass off and get there. It's the beauty of it. But that's cool. No, I didn't know that. My other commentator, Rotterdam, he's a StarCraft caster. He used to play StarCraft, but now he casts all the big events there. So you guys would have something definitely to talk about.
We definitely have some friends in common too. If that's the case.
I would. I've only played Teamfight Tactics a little bit. So I know
I like that game, because I don't need mechanics to play Teamfight Tactics.
I let those guys fight for me. You know what I mean? You're a base management. Move your units around. I just know Misfortune or those. I know a little bit, not too blind.
One of the reasons I don't play online is just because I misclick so often. I know you're famous for just playing infinite tables, but I think I was playing 4 and I couldn't keep track of things, and I was just timing out all over the place. So I gave up on that very quickly.
Tried to play computer games, but can't multi-table 4 tables of poker. It's not looking good. But that's all right. You're a live poker player, and you've done well. You transitioned. You've challenged people heads up for rolls in the late DJ nights at the LA scene, and now you're in Vegas, probably doing the same thing. I'm guessing. I don't know, but that's cool. That's it. You were on High Stakes Poker recently. I guess that was pretty fun. Obviously, a big stake, big game.
Really cool. Definitely did not realize how big we were playing. I signed up to play 400, 800, and min buy was 200K. This is a interesting hand, but I don't think Pipo is going to get too many more chips out of Messier. Yeah.
That's the thing. You got to remember, live poker, straddling, especially televised cash game, always straddling.
Yeah. It's like Bryn Kenny, Rick Solomon, Tom Dwan, Jeremy, and like I'm just shocked when we start straddling. Which is pretty silly.
They're like, it's always one guy goes, "You want to do a round of straddles, or can we just straddle the rest of the day?" And like, you're like, well, I can't be the only one not doing it. So I guess I'm in. It's just like, all sorts of funny stuff. But look at this though, straight versus.
How's this? Yeah, I'm liking this.
It's a big pot too. Okay, so it's 21 million in the middle right now. 16 million. This hand's strong enough to see a river card, a queen 10 of clubs. Obviously he's not doing too great against this hand, but wow, he actually folds. So interesting. His reads are, you know what? I don't want to play big pots of Nair Savan, but right now Nair Savan just is catching up. He's creeping up slowly. Yeah. So he's got to be careful. Absolutely. Like your edge you can only push that edge story for so long where I'll just wait for better spots.
Yeah.
But let's see if Nair Savan can turn it around, because I feel like there were some spots where it seems like pots should be huge, but then they didn't end up being huge somehow because people's stink was tight. That's actually the reason. It's not because Nair Savan played it wrong. It's because people's stink opted to King 3 being aggressive. So very selective.
Yeah. The more I see of this game, the more I like it, honestly. I think Pipo does a lot really well. It's more importantly, he's just like not losing that extra straight that he doesn't need to. And those ships add up. So yeah.
His game plan is definitely seems right, especially in this heads up match. You don't want to play high variance. You want to try to outgrind the spots. But Nair Savan he's not getting run over though. That's the thing. Because like if you were grinding your opponent successfully, he'd be down to like 40 million now or so. It's got like the same stack we started heads up with.
Yeah.
I like that Nair Savan's using a bunch of emojis. He's having the time of his life. He's like, I'm locked up 46K. Win or lose, it's good.
Yeah, and people called it, to be fair. Like he said, like I would both want to play against someone who's not that experienced, but also someone who like gets to have like the experience of having a deep run. So yeah, he's gotten exactly what he asked for.
Well, Pipo does outflop.
And top pair again.
Top pair is good, but I don't know why he's checking. But he did induce a bet from ace queen. Well, nice fold for ace queen. Running cold. It's kind of true. It is pretty true.
Spicy flop.
Nice turn, huh? Nice turn.
Standard. Just to be expected, really.
But he might fold.
Wow. We have okay.
He doesn't like his non-clean draws. You know what I mean? Like he likes better draws than that. These guys are just showing each other their cards. Okay, this is a friendly game.
It is a friendly game.
This reminds me of the first session of Doug Polk versus D-Negs, the live, where they were just having fun, being friends. In the end, though, they were, cussing each other out or whatever, like talking smack. It was a different game then, but like, that's what's going on.
Yeah. I love how both just thought the other was running so unbelievably hot. Did you closely follow the match?
I watched a decent amount of the recaps, and I've definitely watched some of those interviews. But real quick, though, is this 2-5s limp calls the flop, king 10 bets the flop, the ace. I think it's a mandatory bet with this king 10.
We should
nice bet.
5 should go into the muck.
It would be uncharacteristic for him to continue 2-5s right now, given how he's reading Nair Savan. Be very
But Nair Savan's saying he basically has an ace here, and like how many aces is he betting on the flop for that size?
But this story makes sense. It'd be bizarre for the 2-5s to continue. Yeah. Nice. Good play.
People's time bank is starting to go down, whereas Nair Savan hasn't really moved. something to think about.
Earlier, when I first mentioned about Nurseman's time bank, he had 14 minutes and 46 seconds. He's only used 7 seconds so far in his heads-up match. The other guys used a lot more.
Yeah.
Despite playing for the biggest pay jump he's ever played for, 15,000 USD, he's playing it the same way. Doesn't need any time. I like a person who knows what they're doing at the poker table, right?
I think so.
Check. All right. I'd throw out a bet with ace king. I think it's value bet worthy with this kind of action.
I would have liked to see Nessir go ahead and stab the turn. But yeah, once we check turn, I think checking river is pretty mandatory.
Yeah, Nurseman, but he's not really firing too crazily. He kind of likes a little bit of equity before he fires, like maybe a little straight draw. Like 4 deuce. He's going to let his opponent win more pots. So he's not getting run over completely, but he is letting his opponent win a little bit more pots than his fair share, I think.
Let's see a 10 on the river. How about it? Or, not a river.
Nice fold from turn. His opponent was like trying to value bet him very hard with the bigger bets. Look at this Jack Deuce. He's like, I'm done. 2.5x Jack Deuce.
I like that.
Blinds are up.
Blinds are going up quick.
Yeah, so the way it actually works on GG is blinds go up based on the number of hands played and not the amount of time that's passed. So I don't know what the set number of hands is, but say hypothetically it's 25 hands. So every 25 hands is played, then we move the blinds up. And heads up, with Nersavan, they're going to go up very quick because he plays really fast.
I think that could work in his favor. Maybe it gives Pipo just slightly less time to pick up on his tendencies.
So with the blinds going up, though, Nersavan only has 30-something big blinds, and now it's starting to get much more dangerous. People, I expect him to probably limp a little bit more. He has been limping. I think he's happy with the way things are going. 2 8s and King Jack. There could be some action depending on how they want to play it. 3 bet. 2 8s needs to come along or jam. It is going to jam.
Wow. Yeah.
With the YOLO call with King Jack. Let's just go for it. We are going to go for it. Just like, whatever. Let's go. Crazy. This is a key pot here.
Ooh.
King, queen, or Jack.
7?
Queen or 7. Queen or 7. Or we got a champion. That is a king, and we are done here, Lynn. Pipo Stink is the champion. Nersavan gets second place. Amazing score. He got $46,000. Very good for a guy who doesn't play professionally. Put in $30 into this tournament. A huge score for him. Our winner, though, is Pipo Stink. 61,451,000 USD. That's almost 400,000 yuan. Look, he made some tighter folds in the earlier spots. He studied the ICM. They could be correct. We don't really know exactly when G. He didn't do the studying him. But when he got when the tougher players got out there, he was up against some of the less experienced, but he played actually really well, especially in that 3-hand. He's like, I'll grind my opponent, let them do some crazy stuff. I mean, that last hand was actually, King Jack was just a little bit crazy, I think, just to call it off, but he just kind of went for it. It was, he played great, but Pipo Stink did sell 25% of his action to one player, that is Ami Bearer. He's done it again. He's used the GG staking feature. He scores himself $15,000 for a $750 investment. Maybe there's a little markup here and there. Who knows? Who really cares? He just won a lot of monies. Crazy final table. What are your thoughts on some of the players, some of the action, our winner, etc.?
So a little disappointed by Loris. Was kind of hoping he would stick around a little bit longer. WTF was so much fun to watch, but gotta give it to Pipo. He played really solid in the beginning, let other people bust, laddered up. But when he gained the chip lead, like, he was in there playing every hand and really earned those last few chips he won.
Yeah, real crazy. Like the chip leader, once upon chip leader. I mean, he still got one of the upper scores. It's not like he busted out really early or anything. It was funny though. We did have the guy who came in ninth, 2.6 big blinds, who was 7-1 approximately. Almost spun up his stack, and then he got queens into jacks and got rivered by the jack. That would have been an amazing, fun run.
Yeah.
But the pro did end up winning. He is a coach. He's the one guy who did the interview. So you know what? He's gonna run a little bit better, right? I'm a superstitious player. You know, I'm a Chinese player. We gotta be superstitious here and there. But hats off to second place and third place guys. These are guys who don't play normally. They had so little scores to their name. Biggest GG cash. Beautiful play. It was a lot of fun. I think, did you enjoy it, Lynn? We got another show coming next week. We're going to be back for some more.
That was so much fun. There were definitely some fireworks, and also just got some very solid players.
Yeah, so here's a look at the final table payouts that you can see here. The guy with 2.6 big blinds was at the bottom. Then we had Dang James. Bianchini, one of the big skilled players. He actually went out in 7th place. He had a chance to do well, but he didn't do that well, but still did okay. Double 7. WTF is this, one of your favorite players, the Brazilian guy. He went out in 5th. Loris, the guy I thought was going to do good, our chip leader, he came in 4th. Stack from Germany, he did really well. And Nersavan and People Stink, I really remember them because obviously they were in the heads up. They actually played quite a while, was a big one. But People Stink does come out as the APL Trophy #1 champion with tens of thousands of entries. It was a huge event, a really big score for a $30 buy-in. Congrats to him. I'm sure he's going to enter more APL events coming. So as we wrap this up, we do have other tournaments out there in the APL schedule. APL has been running. They're running there on the GG client. So you can see here, we've got the Asia Poker League starting day 1. That's a bunch of different flights you can join. The Shanghai Masters, if you're Chinese, you got to enter that. It's a 6-max tournament, all sorts. And then the main event starts on February 15th. Many different flights you can choose from that's appropriate for your time. Be sure to jump into that because we know the main events are always huge prize pools. Attracts a lot of different players. Not only does it attract the pros, it's the VIPs and all sorts of recreational different players. You got to join that if you get the chance. It's been a lot of fun, Lynn. I think we're going to wrap it up very soon. Our next show is on February 20th, 12:30 UTC plus. They're basically the same time we started today. Next week, the same day. That's going to be APL Trophy #10. The final table of that one would be a lot of fun. Maybe some goodbye, Lynn. Final thing you want to say before we close the show?
No, this was just a ton of fun, and thanks to everyone for tuning in.
Yep. So thank you guys, you heard it, and we'll hear more from the Cash Game Live expert who was in High Stakes Poker next week. See you next time, guys.
Take care, guys.
The GGPoker Wildcard Camp.
Okay, our guy just rivered a set of queens.
Cool. Perfect, Lynn.
Top
All
set.
good? Any
Suddenly has shriveled up. Are we scared of a straight? I wouldn't be scared of Fedor Holtz. He's got middle set of 5s.
Does just call with the set of queens. Oh, and what a decision that was! Fedor turned the straight.
Why does he have a straight? I knew he wasn't bluffing.
Because he's running hot. He's going to get a fire after this one. 2 queens
Gonna
against
fade
2
the jack.
jacks. Should be pretty easy. One more card to go. He's got 9 million chips. Oh no! Did I jinx
Come
it?
on.
I jinxed it, Lynn. Okay, there's a jam here. 2 10s is going to call us, so we might be going into heads up. It's a coin flip. Ace Jack and 2 10s. We need an ace or jack to knock out this guy from Germany. Card. Sweat it out. Ace on the river card. And we need another player. With these deep stacks, we already lost another.
Wow.
I want the YOLO call with King Jack. Let's just go for it. We are going to go for it.
Wow.
Just like, whatever, let's go. This is deep hot here.
Ooh. That's it out.
Jack.
7?
Number 7. We got a champion. Is a king, and we are done here, Lynn. People Stink is the champion. Nersavan gets 2nd place. Amazing score. He got $46,000.